What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It's your boy, Adam Perez. We are back once again with a brand new live episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news, streaming live for you guys here today. We got 6 incredible topics as we're going to be highlighting some of the big news from the Marvel Hall H panel that went down yesterday at San Diego Comic-Con for you guys. We're also going to be diving into the Avengers Doomsday trailer that they wind up dropping earlier this week, along with the Clayface trailer as well. It was a stacked week, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to sit back, relax, talk all about it with you. So we'll see you guys on the other side. Welcome one and all to a brand new live episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for all things movie and television related in regards to the world of Marvel and DC and so many other incredible franchises. It is I, your host, Adam Perez. We're back on this lovely Sunday morning or afternoon, wherever you're watching us at, from Fort Worth, Texas. Joined none other than by my co-host, Stuart Branscombe in the house. What's going on, Stu?
Hey, not much. Definitely excited for these topics today. Yeah.
Have you been keeping up with San Diego Comic-Con at all?
Oh, a little bit, not as much as normal. In fact, it was actually kind of funny. It was during work yesterday where usually I'm kind of the one that gets excited when I see an article or an announcement or something, and I'm usually the one bothering all my coworkers about it. Yesterday was actually because I was so focused on work. Other people were seeing these articles before me, so they were the ones telling me about it. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. Especially learning about it secondhand from other people around you. I've had a very busy past couple of days, bro. I am exhausted. I'm surprised I even had enough energy to even get this show ready for today. The past couple of nights, I think Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, we did a 3-day recap of San Diego Comic-Con. So if you missed some of the big announcements, if you missed some of the big reveals, if there are things that we don't necessarily talk about on today's show, it's because I literally have spent 3 days covering it here on the channel already. And we definitely have everything up on the YouTube channel for you guys to go ahead and check out the past 3 days of San Diego Comic-Con. As we get into it, Stuart, I am kind of curious. I do want to know, is there anything that jumped out at you or surprised you or that you were really excited to see from San Diego Comic-Con that you did hear about?
Oh, man, I wish I could remember the name off the top of my head. If anyone else knows who I'm talking about, please let me know in the comments. But my wife, she's really into this author who is kind of anonymous somewhat. He very much has a fun personality, but always wears kind of a bag or something over his head. And it's usually usually he wears pink and the bag itself is usually pink. He also has sunglasses on it. So I'm totally sorry that I do not remember his name at the moment. But I saw that he was at a panel at Comic-Con with none other than Lloyd Kaufman, which I thought was just so funny because I'm a huge fan of Lloyd Kaufman and Troma in general, whereas Megan is a huge fan of the author. So the two of us, so when I showed that to her, that was just hilarious. I'm like, this would have been a perfect panel for both of us because it's both of our, separate niches, kind of together. So it's that would have been hilarious. So just seeing him with Troma, that was kind of, that was one thing that really stuck out to me. From what I understand, it wasn't even like they were announcing a collaboration or something. They just had a panel together.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. That would have been a pretty cool panel for you guys to attend for sure. There were a couple other things that really jumped out at me. I think the Lanterns trailer really jumped out at me. I thought that was probably the best trailer that they've had so far. It continues to just build my anticipation level, if I'm being honest. Lanterns was great. The Rings of Power Season 3 trailer was incredible. And I'm actually really even impressed with DC Comics continues to impress me. They had several different panels this week, all of which I find myself very excited for. Marvel Comics did relatively well. There are some things that I'm really looking forward to. Also, kind of hesitant on mostly some of their midnight stuff, but their new Avengers line stuff that they're kind of working on. This Avengers Armageddon storyline they have going on this summer, and a new X-Men series that they plan on kicking off next year, Maximum X-Men. Those are some of the ones that really stood out to me here this week. But I want to know from you guys in the live chat if you have been paying attention to any of the big news or announcements that came out of San Diego Comic-Con. What's one or two things that really stand out to you? I definitely want to know what you guys appreciated about this week. But Stu, let's go ahead and kick off this show, man, with our first segment of the day. And we're going to get into our honorable mentions portion of the show. For those of you who don't know, this is really portion of the show where we talk about topics that didn't quite make our top 6 to talk about here today, but felt that you guys certainly still deserved to know about it. There were a couple of big pieces of information that wind up dropping before San Diego Comic-Con that I thought would still be interesting to focus on. But before we get into the honorable mentions, because again, these are always our A+ opinions as we talk about these topics, we always want to know your thoughts on them. Feel free to join us in our live chat. If you have any comments, any thoughts about some of the topics we talk about, feel free to share them in the live chat. We love bringing you guys up and showing your guys' support here. Ricky Perez in the house. I just saw the official poster and release date for the upcoming Clash of the Thundermans, and that is September 3rd on Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus during San Diego Comic-Con on preview nights. Very cool. Also had the official trailer for the upcoming Coyote versus Acme movie. Tickets are currently on sales. I believe John Cena's in that movie. Am I right, Stuart?
Oh yeah. I'm so excited for that.
He also went ahead and dropped. They also had a new John Cena movie trailer that dropped yesterday, I believe. I certainly missed it among everything else that was going on, but I think this is like a Matchbox movie that he's gonna be in. That's got some like Fast and the Furious flair to it a little bit. I'll have to check it out. I haven't seen it myself, but that's just what I've heard. That John Cena's Matchbox movie did drop a brand new trailer. Kiki and Luca in the house. What's up? I don't see a post for live viewer questions. It did drop late. It is currently up there though. I did drop it maybe like 11:30 or something like that. So the live viewer question post is currently up on our YouTube channel. If you want to go ahead and submit a live viewer question over that we'll get to towards the end of the show, go to the YouTube channel, click on the post tab, and there is a live viewer question post up there for you guys. Adam, you talked about representation being important to you. How would your life or relationship with movies changed had there been more representation when you were a kid? You know, I mean, I think representation is something that I think I have found more important as I've found myself getting older, if you will. I think those things, you know, movies hitting like Black Panther or even seeing like Miles Morales, a lot of that stuff came kind of later in my days, but it made me have a much better appreciation for it. When I was just growing up as a kid, if I'm being honest, I don't know if there was anybody that really like jumped out at me that made me think to myself like, oh, I feel represented or I feel seen here. You know, as a young moviegoer, as a kid, I was just trying to intake movies as much as I can. You know, it didn't really matter who was acting or who was, you know, cast in the role. I just watched the movies to watch movies. My uncle would just take me to see just great directors and great performers and stuff in movies, and that's just how I kind of all took it in. I mean, maybe in a sense of appreciation based off of maybe who the writer was at the time or the director, if they were Black or Hispanic in any kind, like if they had any messages in regards to what they wanted to say in their movies. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any just off the top of my head, but maybe that's how it hit me more from a representation standpoint as a kid than actually like being able to see myself on screen, if that makes any sense from an acting perspective. But yeah. Kiki and Lucas say Star Trek was incredibly diverse, especially for its first time. Is that a show you gravitate towards because of its representation? Actually, no. It took me to be a long time before I became even a Star Trek fan. But I will say Star Trek Voyager being like my first series that I watched on my own, yeah, I was absolutely proud of the representation in that regards. The idea of a female captain, Captain Janeway, really surprised the hell out of me. Like the idea, she was like the first female captain, and I remember thinking to myself like, oh, this should be fun. And then you had Chakotay, which was like a Native American number one to her, if you will. Then we had a Black Vulcan on the show, right? I mean, it was like as branched out as you could possibly get. But I guess despite having seen other Star Trek shows before, this Voyager to me just felt like the most diverse in your face, and the one that I think really attracted me to Star Trek on my own. So yeah, Star Trek in that regard, especially kicking off with Star Trek Voyager, for me really showcased the importance of representation for sure.
Definitely.
Let's see here. What else do we got? Kiki and Lucas says, I really enjoyed the Odyssey, but do you guys think there would have been better paced film had it been traditionally linear in chronological order, like Lord of the Rings or Gladiator? What do you think, Stuart? We didn't have you here for the Odyssey.
I think, in fact, I think I actually put this in my notes to you when I sent, for the
We did
review.
talk about it, yeah.
I think like this kind of storyline, especially the way it was told, I think it was perfect for the non-linear editing. I think that if we had kind of the reveal of what happened like after the Trojan horse, like in the beginning, Matt Damon pouring his guts out at the end to, or not literally, but his metaphorical guts out to his wife, wouldn't have had as big of an impact if we already knew what that heavyweight was. I think us not knowing what that heavyweight was and then getting it revealed at the end was just like the perfect cherry on top of what was already like a great movie. Can I go on I'll try to make this rant as quick as possible, but
okay.
I gotta get something off my chest. The right-wing grifters are freaking stupid, and here's why. Okay, so keep in mind what I'm about to say about the Odyssey. These are not my actual opinions on it. This is just like me playing their game, right? So if they had been smart, if they had waited, I could actually see more arguments for this being a win for the anti-woke crowd than it being like a win for the woke crowd, because I think everyone immediately got on this movie for like, it having a somewhat diverse cast. The big one that stood out with, again, the grifter crowd was how, there's a trans man in this movie. And it's like, yeah, he's the first one to die. Like he dies like 5 minutes into the movie. So I wouldn't call that woke, especially because it kind of falls in line with the bury your queers kind of trope, right? So there's that. And then there's the fact that they're saying, oh, but look at all these people of color we have, it's like, yeah, but none of them are main characters. None of them are like, like I'm not going to say like none of them are, they're all there. Everyone's important to the plot as a whole, for sure.
Yes.
But at the same time, none of them are the protagonists. None of them are even the antagonists. They're still just kind of sidekicks to the white people in the movie. So it's like, again, these are not my real opinions on the film, but I'm saying that if they wanted to, they could have had a strong narrative of this movie being a win for the anti-woke. Like, had they actually waited for the movie to come out, had they actually watched it. Obviously, what I'm saying here is very surface level, not actually how I feel about the film itself. I actually freaking loved the Odyssey. I'm just saying this part because I didn't get to say it during the review. I think that like the performances were great. Thought it was so well directed and edited. I thought like, again, Christopher Nolan's nonlinear editing works so perfectly with this. And then also, even though I haven't seen it on IMAX yet, the screen that I did see it on was really big. So I got to see like most of the full picture. And so I think just the framing and everything was so incredible. But yeah, great movie. And again, it's funny just to think about the fact that I think I would be a great grifter if I really wanted to be, but that is not something I want to do. But it's just so funny that like when I left the movie, I was just like, dude, I could have totally grifted the hell out of this narrative.
What else do we got? We also got Kiki and Luca. Do you think the Odyssey will hit 1 billion, or will Spider-Man stop its big run? I don't know. I think I can see the Odyssey and Spider-Man having at least a good month run underneath the both of them, still making some money. I think right now the Odyssey is currently at like $368 million worldwide so far. So we'll see. It's definitely on its path. Kiki and Lucas says, I'm a big Blade Runner fan. Yeah, they had a Blade Runner 2099 teaser trailer that dropped. Peg C in the house. What's up, Peg C? He said, I just watched the trailer for John Cena's new movie with Jessica Biel called Matchbox. I hadn't had the opportunity to check out the trailer as of yet, but I have seen it going around. I'm celebrating my birthday in 10 days. Very nice, Peg.
Nice.
See, hey, happy early birthday to you from Kiki and Luca and from the rest of us. Happy early birthday, man. Marcelino in the house. What's up, Marcelino? Brad Bird did an interview with the direct and confirmed that for The Incredibles 3, the kids will not be aged up because it would go against the themes of the franchise.
I disagree with that. I think like I can see not wanting to make them adults, but why not age them up like in high school or something like that, just to see how family changes as kids get older. And then same with Jack Jack. I would have loved to have seen like a toddler like Jack Jack starting elementary school or something. I don't know. I disagree with even though it's his movie, I'm still gonna disagree with him.
We got Angie in the house. What's up, Angie? Hello. A plus here reports, since both Spider-Man and the Ghostbusters are in New York City, what if the Ghostbusters met Spider-Man? Dude, that would be a sick crossover event. I would love to see that.
They are both owned by Sony.
Ooh, they do. Yeah, let's forego any what was that Men in Black crossover in 21 Jump Street? Let's forget that. Let's do Ghostbusters and Spider-Man. Yes, I would love that. We got Angie in the house. What's up, Angie? Blossom. What's up, Blossom? Appreciate you coming through today. Hey, Adam and Stuart, what's up? I see you have a bingo pillow. I love it.
I got Bingo and Grogu right next to her.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, my little boy has a Grogu plush little chair in his room right now.
Oh, that's cool.
We got Troa. What's up, Troa? Appreciate you coming through. Woohoo! Hall H News. Marcino says, Adam and Stewart, to add on to the representation, how do you feel about people in the Black community who want representation for Black conservatives in a positive light, Stacey Dash or Isaiah Washington? I mean, if they've got maybe good stories to tell of how they got into the business or something like that, I wouldn't mind seeing how they started their business before they became controversial. Why not? Let's see. Peg C says, have you guys seen the first episode of Omega Horn? Not yet. We got Nathan in the house. Appreciate you coming through, Nathan. But yeah, guys, feel free to let your thoughts continue to be known in our live chat here today.
So I haven't seen this movie in over 13 years, so I might be misremembering it. But I think an example of Black conservative movie, oh God, what was it? It was the one where it was the butler working for working in the White House for several years. So you kind of get to see it's kind of like they kind of do a Forrest Gump thing where you're kind of seeing history, but through the butler's point of view. From what I remember, and it has been so long since I've seen this movie, so I could be wrong. I could be misremembering. I remember it giving very conservative vibes, if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong. So I have to rewatch that movie to be sure. But it's something like the White House Butler or something like that. I don't remember even the name of it. Damn, it's been that long. But yeah, it was back in 2013.
Yeah, Pexi says, have you guys seen the first episode of Omega Horn? It gave me Pokemon vibes. That's interesting. It's interesting take. I'm even more curious to see what that means now.
Power Rangers and Pokemon. That's a great combo.
Right. We also got news in regards to Robocop series this week. Variety reported that the Robocop series is set at Prime Video. I think we had talked about it prior, being in some stage of development. But right now, Prime Video has given the show an 8-episode order. The project has been in development with Amazon since 2022. Looking to capitalize on the access to MGM's deep IP library. Per the official logline, a giant tech conglomerate convinces the city to place a powerful robot on its police force, a robot implanted with the consciousness of a beloved fallen officer. Peter Oko serves as writer. James Wan is going to be executive producing it. He says, I've been a massive fan of, this is what James Wan says, I've been a massive fan of Robocop forever, so getting to help bring this world to television is a dream. What Paul Verhoeven created in 1987 was decades ahead of its time, and its questions about technology, identity, and who corporations really serve have only grown more urgent. With Peter's distinctive vision and bold approach to storytelling, we're working to honor what made the original iconic and highlight its relevancy in this modern tech-driven world. world while building something unmistakably new for a global audience. So yeah, Amazon has officially ordered an 8-episode series. So we're gonna get RoboCop. I think the themes definitely hold true according to James Wan. So I can see why they would want to tackle this project.
Definitely. I do find it funny. It's like with Amazon looking at this show and then, of course, looking at The Boys. I love how Amazon is willing to fund shows that straight up say, hey, corporations like Amazon
Like
are
Amazon.
evil. Yeah. And Amazon's like, hey, you guys can talk shit about us all you want as long as you're making us money.
Yep, as long as they're making that money at the end of the day, that's really all that they care about. But yeah, that is kind of funny. It's just like they do know we're making fun of them, right?
Yeah,
I think
I'm sure Amazon knows. That's what's so funny. I'm sure, what's his face? Jeff Bezos, right? That's the head of Amazon. Yeah, I'm sure he knows. I feel like he doesn't care. He's just like, I'm still the second richest man on earth.
Yeah, he's like, I'm still rich, so it don't matter to me none. We also got other news. I don't have a picture for this one, but apparently Ryan Reynolds confirms there's a new Deadpool movie in the works. According to Deadline, it says a new Deadpool movie looks to be in the works at Marvel Studio with franchise star Ryan Reynolds on board to return. The actor confirmed the news during an appearance over the weekend at Fanatics Fest 2026. Sources say the film is currently in early development. It currently has no writer or director attached. He says there's a few really deep cuts that I think are missing behind the movies. I think there's a few deep cuts missing from some of the comics. There's certainly some stuff that that I love. Fabian Naziza, who's the co-creator of Deadpool, wrote that's incredible. We got Jared Dugan, who was a friend, was an incredible comic writer. Reynolds said on stage during his panel that there's stuff upcoming. There's eventually, remotely another Deadpool film. It's going to be great. So he's definitely working behind the scenes to make another Deadpool movie. We didn't have a Deadpool announcement at San Diego Comic-Con though, so clearly very much in early stages of development. And last but not least here for today, some good news. According to Variety, apparently a judge has paused the Paramount Warner Brothers merger. A federal judge ordered a temporary halt to the merger on Monday as a state coalition argues that it would violate federal antitrust laws, leading to higher prices and fewer movies and television shows. They granted a 14-day restraining order after hearing an argument from both sides on Friday. Paramount had previously agreed not to close the transaction before July 22nd. Plaintiff states showing at least demonstrates that serious questions going into the merits remain, weighing in favor of preliminary injunction relief. Paramount and Warner's will continue to operate as separate viable companies competing in the marketplace while they wait for the court to adjudicate this case. The balances of equities combined with the public's vital interest in antitrust enforcement therefore tips sharply in favor of the requested injunctive relief. The 12-state coalition led by California brought a motion for the temporary restraining order. There's a lot of states kind of pushing back against this. The restraining order could extend for as long as 28 days. So yeah, it's been kind of put on pause right now, and I believe the Writers Guild Association also just hit Paramount with the lawsuit as well. So this merger is going to be tied up in the courts for quite some time, I believe, Stuart. But I do believe that there is like a cutoff date that this all has to be resolved by. I think it's like September or October, that if the merger doesn't necessarily go through, that they will terminate the deal. So I am kind of wondering if that's what they're trying to, these states and these lawsuits are trying to hold out for, But yeah, as of right now, the merger is paused. So we'll see what happens going forward.
Definitely a good start. I kind of hope that, with between it getting paused and of course you having all the people in the writers and actors guilds doing everything that they can to stop it, hopefully something happens in the end. But it's definitely a wait and see.
Yeah, definitely gonna be a wait and see for sure. John Peg C says John Campea says the Paramount might eventually back out of the deal. I mean, if they could they're continue. I mean, if it continues to cost them money, more
Mhm.
money than maybe it's worth, then maybe. I mean, they're already in incredible amounts of debt, you know, and so for them to continue to fork over a bunch of money, I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, it's I heard from Comic Book Cast, one of their videos, they were mentioning that supposedly one of the assets, Oracle, which they were going to use for buying Warner Brothers, doesn't apparently they don't have as much money as they claim. So that might be one of the other things that stops the merger from going through and stops Paramount from being able to afford to give Warner Brothers what they promised.
Yeah, that could be it for sure. They're dealing with a lot of blood money too, so
Mhm.
we'll see. But all right, guys, that will do it for all of our honorable mentions here today. So I think, Stuart, it's time to get into our main topics, man. Are you ready to go ahead and knock these out with me?
Always.
Let's do it. The main event, ladies and gentlemen, Marvel Hall H panel was yesterday. Marvel was out there for about an hour or so to highlight some big movies, mostly and mainly movies. We did get some big announcements. They clearly focused, had a small snippet in regards to some Spider-Man stuff, some Avengers stuff. But the big main event was the two big announcements that we wind up getting out of Marvel Studios. I don't know if I would assume that you probably heard of them as of yesterday, Stuart. For those of you who would like to see more San Diego Comic-Con coverage, I do have day 1, day 2, and day 3 recaps over on the YouTube channel. We're really just going to be mainly focusing on the Marvel panel to a certain capacity here on today's show. But if there are things from from San Diego Comic-Con that you would like to see further discussed, feel free to throw that in the live chat or even in our live viewer questions at the end of the show. But first up, we got to kick off with the idea that we did get ourselves a brand new poster for Avengers Doomsday. While we got while we got ourselves a brand new teaser poster, those in attendance actually ended up getting exclusive trailer. They got a brand new
Ooh.
exclusive trailer, yeah, that showed brand new images, brand new plot synopsis type of foreshadowing a little bit. They have not released that trailer out to people as of yet. I don't believe they've released that trailer to the public. We did get our own trailer earlier in the week, which we'll definitely talk about after this panel. But for the fans at home that didn't get the opportunity to see the brand new trailer, they did give us this incredible new teaser poster showcasing Doctor Doom in all his glory. I mean, Stuart, I used the term aura farming yesterday for this poster. I had to define it for somebody in the live chat yesterday, but this is pure Doctor Doom aura all across it, Stuart. I love this poster, man. What about you?
I think it looks absolutely fantastic. I definitely, man, I wish I didn't know that Robert Downey Jr. was behind the mask. I think if there was any one misstep like for this movie in terms of the marketing, and I know why, because they needed to get people talking about this movie early, because of course Marvel fatigue was kind of hitting in. But man, I think this would have been so much cooler if we didn't know Robert Downey Jr. was behind that.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, I think looks wise is great. I'm very relieved that they are not going with a Iron Man, Doctor Doom kind of look, which is what I think a lot of fans were kind of
Oh,
assuming. Like a lot of artwork that fans were coming up with for Doctor Doom for Doomsday made him look a lot more like Iron Man just with the hood. But yeah, this is very much like it doesn't look like it is a complete tech-based suit. It looks like we're going to be getting kind of that sorcerer scientist, that we get from the comic books with Doctor Doom. Kind of makes me hope, honestly, because I feel like the show that really played with those ideas the most was Iron. Um, crap. I was one of the Iron. Not. It was
Ironheart.
Iron. Iron Heart, yes, thank you. I'm like, I know it's Iron something, not Iron Woman, Iron Heart. That's what it was. I feel like Iron Heart was the show that really played with the ideas of like tech versus magic. So I really hope we get to see Iron Heart like in this movie at some point. But
Ooh.
yeah, it's a pretty cool design. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I really dig the design. I mean, they're definitely tapping into his technology and even magic. Like, I think there's even like some rune inscriptions and stuff on some of his armor.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
they're really tapping into it a little bit also. So I love this. You know, it's very rare that I want a poster to hang up on my wall, but I want this poster on my wall. Like, I absolutely need this poster on my wall. Um, Now, to be fair, I somebody did leak the San Diego Comic-Con trailer that was shown. I'm sure it's probably been quickly removed offline, but I'm not going to show it here because of the fact that they probably will pull this whole entire episode if we do, maybe even give us a copyright strike. So I'm not going to show it here. But if you had the opportunity to see the leaked trailer, I do want to know your thoughts on it in the live chat. But I gotta say, as somebody that did get the opportunity to see the leaked version, while sometimes it was a little bit grainy and kind of hard to see, the audio to me, Stuart, it really makes this movie feel like a Doctor Doom movie, and everybody else is sort of like just characters within it. Like, it feels like this is a Doctor Doom origin story where they really focus on his past, his present, what he's up to, what he's attempting to kind of do. It teases really a Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom connection, that there is a past there between these characters in some capacity. And so it feels like they're really going to be treating this Doomsday movie as a Doctor Doom film in and of itself, to build him up properly as a villain, and also maybe to like showcase how interconnected he truly has been to some of these other films within the multiverse saga. Maybe behind the shadows, or the one kind of pulling the strings. So it really changes the dynamic of what I thought this movie was certainly going to be. You know, I thought it was going to be more Avengers, Thunderbolts, X-Men, Fantastic Four heavy, but it feels like they're truly there to kind of serve the purpose of building up Doctor Doom as this character, so that I would assume when we get into something like Secret Wars, that's like the payoff, if you will, for him. But just hearing some of the dialogue and some of the scenes that I was able to see from the leaked footage from San Diego Comic-Con, it looks pretty good, dude. Like, it looks pretty good. Like, when they say that they feel like they've cracked the story, just hearing some of the dialogue from it really gives you a sense of there's a bigger picture really going on here, that I think that they're trying to slowly unravel and introduce us to Doom. And boy, I cannot wait, Stuart. I cannot wait.
Yeah. That direction, them making it kind of a Doctor Doom movie, and then the Avengers kind of just being there, it's not too different from what they did with Avengers Infinity War. Like, I would say that was how they did a good job with balancing all the characters, was by making it like a Thanos focused film, like him kind of being like, in a lot of ways, he was kind of the main character of Infinity War. He was the one that actually had like the hero's journey. I don't know if I would say he had like a full arc, because he was kind of the same man at the end of the movie, but he definitely had the journey of like, having to make a sacrifice in order to get what he, thought he
Right.
needed, and that kind of stuff. So I can see them doing the same thing with Doctor Doom. In fact, I kind of hope, if that's the direction they're going with, they play into that a little bit more, because again, unlike Thanos, who had like at least some movies to build him up, we got nothing for Doctor Doom except for a post-credit scene from Fantastic Four, a very brief one. So I do hope, if we go that direction, we lean a little more into the Doctor Doom origin. Yeah, Yeah, I don't hate that direction. I actually think that might be the smartest way to go about this.
Yeah, we had Sue had some dialogue referencing Doctor Doom, talking about the idea that they knew him and they knew that he was different, that something was off about him, but they didn't realize just how broken he was. So it seems as though the Victor Von Doom that they knew, something has changed within him, or he's grown more powerful, or he's grown more unhinged, and is clearly trying to tap into something that they didn't know he was even capable of. And same thing with Reed Richards. I think there's a dialogue between Reed and Victor in here, where Reed starts questioning Victor if he's the one that is the cause of all of this sort of thing. And so it does feel like Doom has been on a journey that has really led up to this moment, that he's possibly the one pulling all the strings. And this is like everybody trying to, put in what they know about the character and really build him up to be this epic villain by the end of this film. So I'm kind of excited for it, dude. Like, I'm kind of excited for it. People have been concerned and worried about, we haven't given proper, Doom a proper build up for this. But I think they're going to surprise some people with the storyline and how they're going to really make it work. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But so we did get that. We did also briefly have we also did briefly have John Bernthal out there on the stage, if I'm not mistaken, too. I think John Bernthal briefly came out for the Hall H panel. He showcased, I think, a new clip from Spider-Man Brand New Day. I didn't get any information on the new clip, just because of the fact that I'm at this point, like, I'm MIA when it comes to new clips from Spider-Man. I don't need to see no more TV spots. Like, I really don't need to see anything else. And I think they treated it sort of like that also. I thought when John Bernthal came out, I thought they were going to announce like a Punisher movie or something like that, but he was just there to promote Spider-Man Brand New Day, which winds up dropping later on this week. But we did get two massive announcements from San Diego Comic-Con Hall H panel. The first one being, Stuart, we got ourselves a Ghost Rider movie, buddy. Not just the announcement of a Ghost Rider movie, but we also got Ryan Gosling, who's officially been cast to play Ghost Rider. At Hall H, the lights went out. The logo for Ghost Rider came up on the screen. The crowd went crazy, and then when the lights came up, we get a quick zoom in of Ryan Gosling standing on stage, looking surprised, like he just popped up onto the wrong stage somewhere, like he walked out like, what, am I at the right place, sort of thing. But Ryan Gosling will officially be playing Ghost Rider in the MCU, so much so that they actually are going to be dropping this movie in 2028. I believe it's scheduled for like July 2028, if I'm not mistaken, if it holds true. So 2 years from now, we will in fact be having Ryan Gosling as our Ghost Rider to kick off the new phase, if you will. I believe they have plans for 3 movies in 2028, but Ghost Rider was certainly one of them here, Stuart. And not just Ryan Gosling attached to this, but it was also confirmed that the director, Sean Levy, fresh off of just working with Ryan Gosling on Star Wars Starfighter, is now teaming up with Ryan again. So we got the combo of Ryan Gosling and Sean Levy as director for Ghost Rider. And the writer is also attached to this, and Jonathan Troper, who is also the writer for Star Wars Starfighter. It's like Kevin Feige said at Hall H panel, he saw Star Wars Starfighter, and it's effing amazing, is what he says. So much so that my man was just like, you know what? I want to steal this trio and build a Ghost Rider movie with the 3 of them. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. So Star Wars Starfighter crew coming back, but this time in the MCU, as Ryan Gosling makes his MCU debut as Ghost Rider. Stuart, I think this is a huge win. I absolutely love this news personally, if I could be honest with you. But I do have some issues with it, and I'll probably I probably will talk about it a little bit with you here, but I do want to get your thoughts overall as we talk about Ryan Gosling being cast in Ghost Rider. From just first announcement, Stuart, how are you feeling about this one?
Okay, I don't mean this in a bad way, but this is literally the safest direction they could have possibly gone in. I think Ryan Gosling's a great actor, and I think the problem is that when I think, okay, you have to cast you have 5 seconds to cast Ghost Rider in the MCU. Who is it going to be with? Ryan Gosling would probably be the very first name that would come up into my head. So it feels like a very safe direction. Also, having Sean Levy attached to it, I do find it funny. Sean Levy gets to work with both the popular Ryans of Hollywood. Of course, having worked with Ryan Reynolds on several different projects like Free Guy, Adam Project, and of course the most recent Deadpool Wolverine. So yeah, I gotta say, this seems like a very, we're playing it safe, but at the same time, this is kind of a safe direction to go in, where it's like, unless someone really messes up, I don't see how this Ghost Rider movie could possibly be bad, unless they're phoning it in, basically. So I think the number one thing I'd be kind of curious about with this, or actually there's two things I'd be curious about with this. Number one, are we keeping the PG-13 rating? Because Sean Levy has shown that he can do both R-rated raunchy, and of course PG-13, but I don't know if he's ever done R-rated not raunchy, but R-rated, just kind of
dark
horror. Yeah, dark horror, possibly. But I'd be curious to see that. So that's my thing, is what's this going to be rated? I'm assuming PG-13. But then the other thing too is, are we still going to be getting oh god, what was his name from Agents of Shield? Is he still the fourth Ghost Rider in this universe?
Gabriel, whatever was it? Gabriel Luna? Is that who's played the Ghost Rider for Agents of Shield? I think that's his name, Gabriel Luna. Somebody correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah,
in the live chat
now, because he was also in Terminator. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I'll look up his name in just a moment. But it's an interesting, again, most safe direction that they could possibly go in, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Robbie Reyes was the name of the character. Yes, thank you. So anyways, I'm intrigued. I will I guess we'll have to wait and see how the movie itself turns out. But you're right. It was Gabriel Luna. There it is.
Okay.
But yeah, interesting direction.
We got so from Variety, it does break down. It says Ryan Gosling is finally joining the MCU. Project Hail Mary star will play Ghost Rider in the new standalone movie. Marvel executive Kevin Feige announced on stage the film will be directed by Sean Levy and is set for release in 2028. Levy is no stranger to the world of Marvel, but most recently directing and producing the blockbuster Deadpool and Wolverine movie. They also collaborated on the upcoming Star Wars Starfighter, which Levy also directed, in which Gosling is starring. He says, I'm having the greatest flashback vibes here because I was here 2 years ago when we showed Deadpool and Wolverine, is what Levy said. I'll never forget that night because I was introduced to the greatest fans. Gosling is the absolute shit. I say that with tremendous respect. We spent a lot of time last year making Starfighter, and the opportunity, as Ryan started talking about this character, I was like, bro, let's ride. We'll see you in 2028. So it is a film that, mind you, was pitched to Kevin Feige by Ryan Reynolds, according to him. I will come back to this article, but I do want to highlight this interview with Kevin Feige that talks about this very pitch. It says Kevin Feige has declined to address whether Ryan Gosling will be playing Johnny Blaze version of Ghost Rider or Danny Ketch version. This is what he says.
Ghost Rider is super exciting. So for what will hopefully be an R-rated Ghost Rider, can you tell me if Ryan will be playing Johnny or Danny?
I am going to let Ryan reveal what he wants to reveal when he wants to reveal it. And what he wanted to reveal today was he's playing Ghost Rider.
Okay.
He is a huge fan of the comics. He did come to us particularly with a specific vision based on some particular comics, but I'll let him unveil that as he wants to.
Okay. Now,
So they tease the idea of to be fair, it's the reporter that asks the question about the rated R, but Kevin Feige doesn't respond to that. But he does, and he doesn't respond to which version of the Ghost Rider he's going to be playing. But he does emphasize the idea that first off, it's just odd that he's like, I'll let Ryan decide when he wants to tell you more thing. Like, really, bro? Like, you're the CEO of Marvel Studios. I think you have some say in this. As to when Ryan Gosling wants to announce anything. And it sounds like he came to him with a legit pitch, like a full-on idea. And the fact that Ryan Gosling clearly knows his Ghost Rider comics is the way that it's really coming across to me here. So it's really interesting that Ryan is the one that pitched this to him.
Yeah, I would never have taken Ryan Gosling as like a Ghost Rider or just any kind of comic fan in general. So that's interesting that he was the one to pitch it to Kevin Feige. I don't 100% believe Kevin Feige when he says he's going to let Ryan decide when he wants to announce it. I feel like he probably has told Ryan when to announce who he's playing and all that, but you know, he wants to give it the illusion that, like, oh yeah, we're a Marvel family. Everyone, you know, is free to, you know, announce what they want. I guess he's so sick of hearing all the memes about like Marvel having snipers on their actors, you know, in case they say something that spoils something that they don't want spoiled yet. I guess he's aware enough of those memes, and he's just like, oh no, it's not on me, it's on the actors, of course. But yeah, no, it's kind of interesting. This gets me more intrigued because I've mentioned this before when talking about a few other projects that are currently in development, specifically when it came to the Baldur's Gate TV show in development. What intrigues me about a project more is like if you tell me that a studio went to a director and said, hey, we want you to direct this, I'm going to be less interested than if a director, or in this case, actor, goes to a studio and says, hey, I want to make this. I think that those type of projects, like it worked with The Mandalorian, and I'm curious how it's going to turn out with this. I feel like those have a lot more of a chance of like, well, I feel like they tend to have more passion behind them because, you know, this is something they wanted to do before they were hired to do it. You know that this is something that they actually want to do, and it's not just something that they're, you know, being paid to do. So, you know, I think that gets me more excited about this, knowing that it was Ryan Gosling that wanted to make this movie and not Marvel Studios going to Ryan Gosling to make this movie.
Shout out to Boss Logic for this incredible poster that he put together. Ryan Gosling and Ride, taking emphasis from his Drive movie. But it's kind of badass to me. You know, I talked a little bit about this yesterday, but I'll talk a little bit about it again. Look, I'm excited for this project. Like, I'm excited for the idea of Marvel getting ready to tap into this side of their universe that they haven't really explored or really played in too much. So I am glad that they're kind of opening the gates for that. I will agree with you in the sense, Stuart, that this does feel like the safer of the two routes. Like, if you tell me Ryan Gosling's playing Ghost Rider, based off of the idea that I already know that he's a big Ghost Rider fan, he's been really pitching and like fan casting himself, like trying to fan campaign himself as this character for like the longest time. I'm really glad that they wind up getting him because I think Ryan Gosling's a phenomenal actor. I think he's got great range to him. I think he's got a great charisma and charm about him that allows him to really help bring levity to some movies, but also have that ability to still be very drama focused and, you know, take himself really seriously. And so I think he does bring a really great balance to anything that he kind of does. Sean Levy is not my first choice for a Ghost Rider project. I'll just say that right now. But he is bankable. Like, I don't know if there's a bad a Sean Levy movie out there, and if there's probably more great and good Sean Levy movies than there are bad ones. So it does make me curious as to what Kevin Feige saw, not only in Star Wars Starfighter, but this shared vision and pitch for Ghost Rider between Ryan Gosling and Sean Levy that really won Kevin Feige over to be like, yeah, you guys are the ones for this particular movie, right? So I am curious if Star Wars Starfighter maybe does have some darker elements, like maybe Sean Levy is really showing his range a little bit, because that's the question that I had too, Stuart, was I don't think I've ever recalled Sean Levy really, like, yes, he's done rated R, like action and things like that, but from like a horror kind of perspective, has he really tapped into that before? And I don't think I've seen anything from him like that. So it does make me wonder if there is something within Star Wars Starfighter that's just like he might have captured something within the villains that really made Kevin Feige be like, okay, like maybe he is capable of doing something like this and has that wide range. So I do think it is a safe bet, not my first choice, but I do think the combination could still make a really enjoyable and good Ghost Rider movie. So I am keeping my fingers crossed in that regards, but I do love this announcement. Like, I truly do love this announcement outside of my questioning of Sean Levy as the director. If there is anything, and I talked about this yesterday, Stuart, when we did the live recap, if there is anything that makes me laugh and throw my hands up and say, what are we doing here? If I'm Mahershala Ali, I'm slapping the hell out of Kevin Feige, my guy. Like, I am irate at this point. And only because it's like Blade, I'm sorry, but Blade and Ghost Rider take up the same amount of space in the room. Like, they may be, one may be a vampire, one's a spirit of vengeance. They still take up the same space within the MCU. Mahershala Ali came to Kevin Feige in 2019 and was like, I want a Blade movie. They went through 5 writers and they couldn't make it happen. And within the year's time, Stuart, a year's time, Ryan Gosling and Sean Levy come up to Kevin Feige like, hey, we want to make a movie. We want to do Ghost Rider. Kevin Feige's like, no problem. And we got a fucking Ghost Rider. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? This is... But
to be fair... we could. No, you're right. Let me just first say, yeah, you're right about all that. But to be fair, it's only just been announced. So for all we know, Ghost Rider might end up having the same production hell that Blade had. It probably
maybe
won't, but it could.
I mean, they gave my man a release date already. Like, they gave my man a release date.
Didn't Blade? I totally forgot. Didn't Blade at one point have a release date?
I don't remember if he did or not. He might have had a release date. But like, if we're planning on coming out in July of 2028, that's like 2 years away. You got a writer, you got a director, you got your main star. Like, I'm sure, I have a feeling like pre-production is already underway. Like, if they were like, hey, we want to get into cameras by the end of the year, I feel like Marvel Studios at this point probably could do that. If Black Panther is probably going to start filming before the end of the year for its 2028 release, I can guarantee you that Ghost Rider is going to start filming within like the next 6 months, bro. Like, that's how fast Kevin Feige was quick to get Ryan Gosling as Ghost Rider and put him on there. Like, it boggles my mind, dude. Like, Kevin Feige literally came out this week and called himself a failure. He feels like the biggest failure because he dropped the ball on Blade. And then my man immediately announces Ghost Rider. Like, bro, like, how impossible is it to make a Blade movie, dude? Like, you couldn't find any writers to make a great Blade movie, but Ryan Gosling has a pitch and you're like, yes, sir, we'll give you exactly what you want. It just looks bad. Like, it's just a bad look on Kevin Feige's part.
Yeah.
Because my thing was when I was watching this, I was expecting that they would announce Ghost Rider, and I thought Kevin Feige immediately was going to be like, and Mahershala Ali Blade is finally going to be made, you know, and it's going to be like a duo of getting into the dark side of the MCU. No, that's not what the Blade movie is done, guys. Like, we've moved on, we've set sail. That's not happening, at least not anytime soon. But Ryan Gosling wanted that Ghost Rider movie, and you got it, boy. You got it. So I'm sure Kevin Feige's happy he's got his man in the role that he wanted to. And it's not a case of like you cannot convince me that like when they sat down to figure out the next phase of MCU, I can almost guarantee you they had in mind Black Panther and X-Men. I'm pretty sure Ghost Rider was nowhere near on their ideas. Like this is literally a movie that I think not until Star Wars Starfighter started filming. I don't even know when production began on Star Wars Starfighter, but you can't convince me that Ghost Rider was a plan before Star Wars Starfighter was. Like you couldn't convince me. It's one of those things that I think at last minute he was like, okay, yeah, let's make this work because of the fantastic pitch that you have. So whatever pitch that Ryan Gosling had for Ghost Rider must have been a hell of a pitch and must have been pretty tight in regards to its idea for it to go ahead and be greenlit and ready to go into production probably within the next 6 months, instead of Mahershala Ali's Blade taking like 6 years or 7 years to actually ever happen and it fall apart. So it's just like, man, that's so crazy to me, Stuart, how that plays out.
Oh my God, yeah, very. It's it's definitely like frustrating because it gives off the white privilege vibes, if I'm being honest.
You said it, not me, brother. You said it, not me, brother.
I'm just saying that's definitely the vibe it kind of gives off because, like, yeah, Mahershala Ali pitches this like back in what Blade
2019.
Was like, 2019, yeah. Dear God,
I'll give them COVID as an issue. You know, maybe stall things for like 2 years or so. But my man, I mean, like a year's time, Ryan Gosling's like, hey, I got this idea. Boom, let's get this movie ready, y'all. Like, that's crazy to me.
And it's like, I don't know, like the way Kevin Feige just kind of says, like, the Blade movie was one of my biggest failures. I find it just weird because it's like, well, you have like literally all the time in the world to turn that around, what I mean, the biggest
like keep going, like don't wait,
actually make it,
actually make it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it would be like less frustrating too if there was like more open. And I get it, everyone signs NDA, so of course we're never ever going to get like the full story of how it never why this movie never got made. But it is just really frustrating because like the way it just looks, on Marvel's part is it just seems like they just constantly, it was never their priority to begin with. All these other films were their priority, and anytime they were finally going to get around to Blade, they were like, but we didn't make as much movie on this, so we're going to wait until our next project and then we'll start funding the movie Blade. Again, I don't know fully how it worked behind the scenes, but yeah, it is kind of annoying how it was one of their most excited announcements back in 2019, and then it just like afterwards felt like such low priority for them.
Yeah, Nathan says the film wouldn't need a big budget. Yeah, I think the thing was they were trying to make it for under $100 million. That's for sure. They were trying to do a more low budget Blade movie. So the fact that they still couldn't do that is mind boggling to me. But yeah, Ghost Rider apparently is it's a priority now for them. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a year and a half ago, but it is now. But regardless, I know I crap on Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios because I just dropping the ball and then just announcing a Ghost Rider movie that literally takes up the same vein in the MCU. But outside of that, I am all on board for this announcement. Like, I still want to see this fucking movie. Like, you can't convince me otherwise. I still want to see this movie. But that's not the only announcement that we wind up having. We were expecting or predicting that so many fucking Ryans in the MCU now, that Ryan Coogler, a completely different Ryan Coogler, was going to be at San Diego Comic-Con to highlight Black Panther 3. There was some speculation that Denzel Washington was going to be there, but we had the wrong black guy, guys. We had the wrong black guy because instead, David Johnson is in fact announced to be the new Black Panther. That's right. We had the cast of Black Panther 3 come out, and Letitia Wright, along with Winston Duke, came out with Ryan Coogler, and they talked about the idea of getting ready for the next installment, and that they wanted to introduce the world to their new Black Panther. I don't even think he referred to him yet as T'Challa Jr., but he referred to him as the new Black Panther. And out comes David Johnson. If you haven't seen some of David Johnson's work, he's been remarkable in a lot of the stuff that he's been doing. He was just recently in The Long Walk, which is currently on streaming right now. If you haven't had the opportunity to check it out, incredible in The Long Walk, along with Alien Romulus. So he's doing some really big things right now. And clearly Ryan Coogler saw something in him and wanted to kind of bring him on board. And that's exactly what we wind up getting here. I'm trying to see if we have any before we go into the article itself. I do want to try and bring up some videos perhaps from yesterday's panel of him being introduced to people. If you haven't had the opportunity to check it out, I'm trying to scroll through some of this stuff right now. I thought I had the full Ryan Coogler, because it was oh, is this it? Yeah, here it is. This is Ryan Coogler talking as they bring him out. Let me go ahead and pull up this so you guys can see Ryan Coogler's announcement for this.
The last time we were together, we got to make a movie. We introduced a character who was the son of the character that the great Chadwick Boseman played, our T'Challa in that film. And today, I want to tell you guys in this next film, he grows up, he comes of age, and we have to find an incredible actor. You guys in this hall, you guys might know some of his work. He was great in a movie called The Long Walk. He was great in Alien Romulus. I want you guys to give a warm welcome to our new Black Panther, Mr. David Johnson.
It's hard to see in this shot. I wish there was another angle for it. Oh, there he goes. Look, he's giving Letitia Wright a big hug.
This young man.
First of all, I love this shot here of Letitia Wright with the acceptance of like nodding her head sort of thing, recognizing that this is very much sort of like a passing of the torch kind of moment in regards to it. It feels like the mantle of the Black Panther just carries so much weight in the MCU, right? Like from Chadwick, what happened with Chadwick, how Letitia Wright wind up really becoming, as Shuri becoming the new Black Panther, like that level of responsibility, you know, helming your own movie in Black Panther 2. She's clearly going to be in Doomsday and Secret Wars, but now having to pass this mantle onto the new generation here in David Johnson. I really just love seeing that sort of thing. You know, it's crazy too to think about, Stuart, the fact that each Black Panther movie will have had a different Black Panther in it. Oh, I think you're muted.
Oh, I'm muted. Sorry, yeah, I was just saying, oh yeah, definitely.
But let me go ahead and pull up this article here from Empire Magazine. Black Panther 3 is officially Ryan Coogler's next movie. David Johnson is the next Black Panther. Ye Bombay. Another Marvel Hall H panel has come and gone, bringing it teases like the exciting Ghost Rider announcement. But while some have smarted at the lack of X-Men movie reveals, Black Panther 3, that's right, folks, Ryan Coogler's Sinner follow-up will be hotly anticipated Wakanda threequel, and none other than David Johnson is set to star in a massive role. Is officially set to play the grown son of Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa, Prince T'Challa II, in Black Panther 3. He was introduced towards the end of Wakanda Forever, paving the way for the late King T'Challa's son to succeed his auntie Shuri someday as a new Black Panther. And with today's announcement, it would appear that that day has come. So they did talk about that a little bit. But yeah. Oh, and also says Ryan Coogler did mention that firstly, as the celluloid revolution, of which Coogler has been a major proponent, continues the space, we got confirmation that Black Panther 3 is being shot on large format celluloid film.
Ooh.
Yeah, and secondly, the movies has a release date already for December 15th of 2028. So yeah, he's going to be filming it on large format celluloid film.
I wonder
Right,
now
yeah.
that Ryan Coogler has made one of like the biggest films in Hollywood. Now he's able to like make
Oh,
those demands when it comes to filming with Marvel. Like, all right, you want me back for Black Panther 3?
uh,
Well, I'm going to shoot this movie on film, even though like Marvel never does that.
yeah. At this point, it's just like, yo, Ryan, whatever you want to do, Ryan, you just tell us, bro, and we'll follow your lead for sure. Like that's the type of energy Ryan Coogler's got right now. What are your thoughts on this casting choice, Stuart?
I think this was an excellent choice. I haven't seen him in much. Obviously, he's kind of like a newer, or maybe not newer, but only one that I've seen like in a couple of recent films. I still haven't watched The Walk all the way through, but you know, from what I've seen of him in the movie, he does a good job. And then, of course, I freaking loved him in Alien Romulus, a very different type of android than the one that we're used to, but he played it so well. Like both versions of him, in fact, like even the one that we kind of get in the beginning where he's like not like completely all put together, but then like of course the more confident version of himself that we get later on, the way he's able to kind of shift from one version of the android to the other shows that this guy definitely has range. I'm really excited to see how he does is now playing T'Challa Jr. in Black Panther 3. I think this is a really cool choice. Also, sorry, but going back to what you were mentioning in the beginning, you were saying that people were expected Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, not to be the new Black Panther, but to be in the movie. But to be in the movie, yeah.
Okay, that makes way more sense then. Okay, yeah. No, I'm all for that, but like, yeah, if it was like him as the new Black Panther, it's like he's a little seasoned, I think. But yeah, no, I think David Johnson's a great choice. I'm really excited. I think he's gonna absolutely kill it.
Yeah, I think he's gonna crush this role. Also, I am a big fan of his most recent work. Also, you know, I was also thinking that the other actor, Damson Idris, I believe he was in the F1 movie, if I'm not mistaken, just recently. I thought he was gonna potentially be in line for it. I have a feeling he might have been in the running, but I also heard somewhere that Ryan Coogler actually saw David Johnson in The Long Walk, and The Long Walk is what convinced him to reach out to David Johnson and maybe come out and audition for the role or something like that. So Ryan Coogler definitely saw something in David Johnson to have him warrant this role. But everything that I've seen him in, I've been really impressed with, and I think he's just going to continue to grow as an actor. So you know, there might have been some other fan castings that I think people certainly had in mind. I have seen some people predict David Johnson. I've seen other ones for Damson Idris also. I don't think Ryan Coogler would have gone wrong with either of them, but I definitely trust Ryan when it comes to his casting and who he winds up sort of bringing in. With him being older in this movie, I am curious as to the placement of this film after Secret Wars. How big of a time jump are we truly going to have here? Does this sort of spell doom for somebody like Shuri in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars? Does she make it out alive? Does she not? Is that how the mantle is then passed on to T'Challa? Does she hand it down herself in any particular moment in time? Or do we just jump into the idea that years have passed and this kid is now our new Black Panther? So timing wise, I am curious as to where this all fits. But if there's anybody that I trust to go ahead and make this movie make sense, it's definitely Ryan Coogler. But congratulations to David Johnson on what's going to be a huge opportunity for him kind of moving forward. And I think we need younger, fresh faces within the MCU, and somebody as talented as him. I think he could really help carry the MCU for a few years for sure. We got John in the house. What's up, John? I'm very excited about Ryan Gosling as Ghost Rider. He was great in Project Hail Mary. Yeah, he was tremendous in that movie. Do you think Ghost Rider will be a part of Avengers Doomsday? I don't, Stuart. What about you?
Oh no, definitely not. Unless he's in like a post-credit scene for a tease, but he will not be in the movie itself. Especially because it sounds like it was only just recent that they casted him as a ghostwriter.
Yeah, I am kind of curious as to maybe there's a post-credit scene in something like Secret Wars. Maybe they treat Secret Wars like Return of the King in the sense that we get like 13 extended endings that like set off what the new MCU might certainly look like. John also says, I'm very excited about the Black Panther 3. T'Challa recast who played from Alien, Romulus, and Long Walk. They're great movies. Yeah, I completely agree. We got Frankie in the house. What's up, Frankie? I wonder if Sinners took away from the incentive to move on with Blade. I take all your points, Adam, and morning, everyone. Yeah, I mean, it could be. I have heard rumors that the Sinners movie, especially with it being a period piece, might have been something that they were kind of going for when it comes to Blade also. And I think Ryan Coogler was even able to use some props, I think, from whatever they were making from Blade, and use some stuff over from Sinners. So Sinners might have stepped on its toes a little bit, but still, like, come on, guys, we can't come up with something better. Frankie says, I'm really excited about Black Panther 3. I heard that David Johnson is a phenomenal actor, so hopefully we should be good. Thought it would be Damson, but here we are. Let's roll. Yeah, I think we're going to be in good hands. Frankie with the super chat today. Appreciate you coming through, Frankie. I know it's tough in the streets for everybody, so we appreciate anything that you guys can certainly help us out with. Marceline says people still want Black Panther to continue after Ryan Coogler, just like Spider-Man, as it should. I think so, Stuart. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you have a cast and crew that are still, and writers that still want to write for it, then yeah, I don't see any reason not to continue it.
Frankie says, or Shuri could stay on and ride her headstrong young nephew who is working her last nerve. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that relationship between the two is certainly going to look like.
My prediction is that it's going to be a mixture of Shuri holding him back and him being a little bit too overconfident that he's ready to be the next Black Panther. Because it seems like kind of it's a little bit of a common trope, but I feel like if anyone knows how to do a common trope but like still add a lot of layers to it, it's definitely Ryan Coogler.
I am fascinated just based off of them having hid King T'Challa's son. Raising him kind of in secret, because they told Letitia, right, like Shuri at the very end of the movie, that was his son. So, I do wonder if he is still kind of in hiding when we meet him in Black Panther 3, or if they've actually introduced him into sort of Wakanda and that lifestyle. So I am kind of curious as to what this movie will entail. Like, will he start off as Black Panther once we see him in Black Panther 3, or is it a case of like the mantle needs to be passed down, and maybe they become aware of him and finally know of him, and so maybe it's this like integration period for T'Challa Jr. and becoming coming into Wakanda maybe for the very first time, or being let in for the very first time and being passed this mantle and like the responsibilities that kind of come all with it. Maybe like a coming of age story for our T'Challa Jr. I don't know. I'd be interested to see what direction they go with it though.
Yeah, I would definitely. I do also wonder if like maybe someone else wants the throne, and they think like the best chance of getting the throne is to like kill him before you can take it. So maybe there's like that aspect of the storyline too.
It could be like, I wonder if there's like some Killmonger references from the first one in regards to a kid that was hidden, who now just learns of his like lineage and the power that he has. I am kind of curious what direction they probably will go, but yeah, in Ryan Coogler I trust. I'm sure he'll knock it out of the park. But yeah, guys, so that was the Hall H panel from Marvel Studios. Look, some people felt it was a little bit underwhelming, if I could be honest with you, but I think those in attendance probably got a lot of great stuff. I mean, they got to see an exclusive Avengers Doomsday trailer that we didn't get the opportunity to see, and they got to see exclusive Spider-Man Brand New Day footage that they didn't release out to the public either. So I think those in attendance probably had a blast at Hall H. But us looking out, I think some people probably felt a little bit underwhelmed by it. But I love both of the big announcements that came out of this. I was certainly a big fan. But that's not all the Avengers Doomsday stuff, Stuart, that they wind up having this week. Earlier this week, they did go ahead and give us our very first look at the Avengers Doomsday trailer. Have you had the opportunity to check out the trailer itself, Stuart?
I sure did.
I should say, how many times have you watched it? Should be the really big question, because we did get it very early in the week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I watched it a few times. I wouldn't say I rewatched it as many times as Infinity Wars or Endgame, but I did watch it.
For those of you who have not had the opportunity to check it out, although I'm sure plenty of you probably already have, I do want to try and see if I can pull it up here for you guys so we could talk a little bit about it. And I think I'm also going to accompany it with a couple of articles that have dropped so far after the Avengers Doomsday panel. So we'll have some extra context to look at it through, a different lens to look at it through. But let me see if I can find it here real quick. Where's this trailer? I did go ahead and post my thoughts in an exclusive video for you guys. If you haven't had the opportunity to see it yet, please do yourselves a favor. Let me see if I can get this. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and check out this trailer for Avengers Doomsday.
Something's coming. Something we may not be able to deter before this day is done. We should be faced with an unthinkable decision.
First off, I don't know if you hear that, but that is the voice of Dr. Doom. That's what Robert Downey Jr. decided to go with for his voice.
Something we may not be able to deter before this day is done. We should be faced with an unthinkable decision.
I've fought with many warriors in my time. They were far stronger than all of us put together.
Far stronger than all of us put together. I mean, look at this group of people we got here.
I was going to say, I think if there was anything in this trailer that confused me, it would be this moment here. Because, yes, I know Thor is a god. And he has fought alongside other gods. But are they actually more powerful than the Avengers that you fought with? Because if so, why didn't you bring those guys to some of the battles that you've had on Earth? They could have been quite helpful during that battle of New York. Or also, if they are stronger, why didn't you call upon them when Asgard was being threatened by your sister? Yeah, so I don't know. I found that line a little bit weird. I'm like, what does he mean? He's fought with stronger warriors than the Avengers?
They were far stronger than all of us put together, and they died. They died facing enemies and threats that scared me far less than this one.
Ooh, that Cyclops scene. My man coming in there like a leader, dude. Like, just, what's going on? What's going on? Like, I love this shot of him.
Yeah, they're like, we know you've been watching X-Men 97. Here we go.
Yeah. Ooh, the Shang-Chi Gambit fight.
It was a fight that I didn't know I wanted until I saw that. Then I'm like,
right?
Ooh, I got to see this now.
Yeah, give us justice for Shang-Chi.
Everything that they sacrificed
And then,
for nothing.
okay, that hand. I think that's Captain America's hand. I don't think that was Loki's. I think that was
That's Steve.
Yeah, that's Steve. Learning about the TVA and then learning that Loki's in charge and him probably being like, I don't trust this guy, you know.
Yeah, I wonder if this is I wonder if somebody comes knocking on Steve's door. I wonder if the person knocking on Steve's door ends up being Loki. Like, hey man. I wonder if that's the thing. But yeah, you can see on his hand that's the wedding ring that he's got on his finger there. So that's definitely Loki meaning Steve.
Price will be for
Yeah.
nothing.
I wonder how hard it will be
Do
for him to
not
get his
stand
trust.
Yeah.
It's like,
Put aside.
I love this shot too. Just because it's a cool amalgamation of like different characters. I mean, you know, working with each other. I don't know if Yelena's actually worked with Sam Wilson on screen before, but that's going to be a first. And then we even got Herbie coming with them on this adventure, along with Reed Richards. It looks like they're going to Xavier's school here. But yeah, just an interesting amalgamation of characters to put together.
oh yeah.
Your petty squabbles. Presume nothing except this. If you return, who will return has
That looks like the end of an excursion. This moment here, it looks like their world is being
who will return has brothers and
like
sisters.
some type of failure.
Mark my words. We're going to need a miracle.
Hey, pal.
It's not possible.
I love the theme. The theme sounds really good. But you know, this is the big question that people are asking, if this is in fact our real Steve. You know, I think a lot. First off, I didn't even really question the idea if this was our real Steve until I saw this scene, and I've kind of watched it a couple times. Like the music choice, the eeriness of the reveal. You know, you would think if it was ours. If it was our Steve Rogers, the music would like hit this big crescendo or something like, aha, he's back. But this is like, can I trust this dude type of vibe that I get from it. But it works for me, man. It works for me in regards to like just who is this guy? I will say, you know, because we've been getting the Avenger Doomsday quick snippets. Remember when they dropped like those 4 little mini teasers last year for us? We got the opportunity to see Steve Rogers like holding a baby in his hand. My man was like as clean shaven as they come in that trailer, and now my man has a full-on beard in this movie. So it does make me wonder, is there a time jump from where we see Steve in that teaser to here that my man has grown a full beard, or are there 2 completely different versions? You know, one of the big questions that we asked when we first saw that Steve Rogers snippet was, is this even our Steve? Like, is this even our universe's Steve Rogers? So it does make me wonder if the multiverse is in play. We have teased the idea of like a Hydra Cap potentially in here. There are theories right now that this is potentially Hydra Cap. Does make me curious how he's worthy of the hammer itself. There have been some comic book people that have said Hydra Cap has lifted Mjolnir before. There are other people that have shown like a different inscription to that Mjolnir. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be worthy in order to kind of pick it up. So I am kind of curious the direction in which they're going here, Stuart. At this point, I really have no idea. I can see the theories for sure and the questioning of who this Steve Rogers is, but I'll be fascinated to kind of see like what direction they go with this here. But what do you think? Do you think this is our true Steve or no?
If it's not our true Steve, I don't think it's Hydra Steve. I think the only other person it could kind of be besides Steve Rogers is Dr. Doom himself. And that's why he's able to lift the hammer, because Dr. Doom was able to do that in the comic books. I think this is the real Steve. I think the reason he didn't have a beard in the first trailer, I think those teasers were all filmed like separately from the actual movie. I think they were just like, we need to hype people up now, so we'll just film these teasers first before we even start with the movie itself. So I don't think so. So I think that this is going to be the actual Steve Rogers. That is. But yeah, that is definitely. Yeah, it's a good theory, though. It is a good theory that we could get Hydra Cap, and I think we might. I think we could still get Hydra Cap in this movie. I just don't know if that is Hydra Cap.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's Hydra Cap either. There is a little interview here with Chris Evans that I do want to highlight from San Diego Comic-Con. We got a couple of snippets. Here's Chris Evans reveals Kevin Feige wanted him to continue playing Nomad after Avengers Endgame.
When we finished Endgame in 2018, Lou and Kevin took me to dinner, and they were like, "We'd love to keep doing movies with Steve Rogers as Nomad." And I said, "Okay, well, what do you got?" And they showed me a pitch, and it was a great pitch. But for whatever reason, it just didn't feel right at the time. I kind of wanted to. I was a little precious. I wanted to preserve it, but I just said, please keep pitching. And over the course of 8 years, I probably heard at least a dozen pitches.
Wow.
And they were all wonderful. It just never quite felt right. And you do start thinking, maybe this the expert, whatever it is, maybe it's not right because it's just not right. And then I got a phone call from my team saying there's a rumor Downey's talking to Marvel. And I was like, oh, what does this mean? And all of a sudden it felt right. Joe gave me the pitch and Downey was and it just all of a sudden it was like, this is it. So
when I hear this, Stuart, this kind of dispels the notion for me now that this is a cash grab. In the sense of like, people say, oh, they're only bringing Chris Evans back because of the situation that they're in. This to me tells me they have always had intentions of trying to bring Chris Evans back in some capacity or another. I mean, they seemingly wanted to keep him on board the MCU even after Avengers Endgame. They had intentions of him playing key roles and key parts within the MCU. But Evans is the one that's kind of turned them down over the years until this new pitch kind of came in. So this doesn't feel as much of a Hail Mary and as a desperate move from Marvel Studios as I think we all wanted to assume it was once Robert Downey Jr. came on board and they announced Chris Evans and things like that. This feels very much like something that they have had plans for, at least the return of Chris Evans as Nomad or Steve Rogers in the works for quite some time, it feels like. I think you're
I'm sorry. Yeah, I would say that it could mean that. I mean, I would still call it somewhat of a cash grab in the sense that they have him because they know his name's going to sell. But I also kind of like what I was mentioning before with the Sean Levy thing, like cash grab doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. I do think that they do have a good story that they probably want to put him into with this movie. But I do think them initially pushing him to come to this or come back to Avengers was probably the cash grab aspect of it. But I am very curious though, because there have been like quite a few actors now speaking up about this movie. And yes, I know it could just be like, they're contractually obligated to, but it does seem like you were saying, like a lot of actors that are on board with this movie are on board because they really enjoy like what they've seen so far from like the script and from the overall pitch of the movie itself. So I wouldn't be too surprised if that was like kind of the main thing that drove him back, is that it wasn't really the money. It was actually like someone pitched him the Nomad character that they had pitched him before, but this time they came up with an idea that even that Steve Rogers, or sorry, that Chris Evans actually like was really into. Yeah. So yeah, I think that I think there might be kind of an in-between. Like, it's somewhat of a crash grab, but there is a good story that they have with the Nomad character. And I think the smartest thing about it was I'm glad that he turned it down in the beginning, because I feel like if they had brought him back as Nomad, like immediately after Avengers Endgame, it definitely would have taken away, I think, from some of the newer Avengers that we got.
Yeah.
And also, from Captain America himself, who, he passed the shield down to. So I feel like, that would have taken a lot from Sam Wilson. So I like the idea of giving him like a little bit of a break before bringing him back as a Nomad.
He also did an interview with Entertainment Weekly here after the panel, saying it was almost like going back, talking about filming for Doomsday. He said it was almost like going back to the 2011 on the first Avengers, because at the beginning of that, you're kind of the new kid on the block and you're excited to even be there. I found myself during that movie watching, he says, you're in the scene, but then you're just like, Robert Downey Jr. is playing Tony Stark. Fuck, I have a line. And on this one, I felt that a little bit again, just watching you do this thing that I couldn't wait to see. It says there's the science thing, and there's considerable they're considered pretty brilliant guys. Robert Downey Jr. tells EW, but Tony had that trauma that turned him into a hero, and Doom's got the exact opposite, to where it takes the prowess of all of these folks to go up against him, and it was just a joy to behold. And that was in the footage, it shows Sue Storm explaining how Doom hails from their own universe. He says he used to be different. He used to be kind. He used to be caring, she explains to the other heroes. And then everything he loved was taken from him, is what Sue says. I knew he was lost, but I did not realize he was broken, was one of the lines from that trailer that we wind up having.
I do like that he comes from the Fantastic Four universe, because then it kind of implies that he and Reed Richards might have had their past history where they were really good friends. So yeah, I'm glad that they're keeping that aspect of it.
Yeah, I'm glad that they are also. There was some talks too that and announcements also for those of you that missed it, that Haley Atwell is coming back as well. Haley Atwell, who played Peggy Carter, aka Captain Carter, also in Multiverse of Madness and in the What If series. She was announced to be in Avengers Doomsday as well. And this is her talking about.
It's always I think it's always a testament to the fans that they are committed to the enduring love story between Steve and Peggy, and to be able to come back in that kind of way. It feels very bittersweet and nostalgic, but really comes from the fans wanting that. So I feel like I'm here as her custodian.
So speaking of the fans, a lot of people have noticed Steve's new look. He's got some longer hair. He's got a longer beard.
More like Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. How does Chris feel about that, from her like strapping 1940s man to this different look that he's got?
Yes, I think she probably has an opinion about it. I imagine that they have conversations about it. You can't change the partner. You can support the choices that they make if they want to, but I can't say that she was of it.
Oh, I guess Haley Atwell's not a beard girl. She doesn't care for the beard so much.
I imagine it's going to come off like, I imagine it's going to be like similar to that scene in Toy Story 5 where they ask Woody about the poncho, and he's like, oh yeah, Bo really likes it. You see Bo just going. So I could see them doing something like that with Peggy Carter. Oh yeah, I got the beard now. Peggy really likes it. Just see Peggy going. But so I have a really weird what if question, because this would be very out of character for Captain America. This would not happen in any Avengers movies, but like let's just pretend for a minute. Let's say Captain America, who is settling down with Peggy Carter in the past, later called to action, so he's working side by side with the Avengers in the multiverse, and one of those Avengers members is Captain Carter. If the two of them hooked up, would that be considered cheating?
Yes, I think so. I think it still would be. But man, I gotta think that Cap would definitely be hella impressed, man. I think he'd be
Oh yeah.
he would be swooned for sure. Trying to keep himself together. But it does make me wonder, like, is this the Peggy Carter from the previous movies? You know, is she coming back as a Captain Carter? I would be interested to kind of see the role that she's kind of playing. I mean, if she mentions the idea of like her not caring so much about the beard, it does make me wonder if that's an alternate Steve, if she's got some opinions on what the alternate Steve looks like. I really have no idea. But she does say this is her talking about Peggy and Steve's relationship arc leading up to Avengers Doomsday.
What do these two look like in a domestic situation? What happens when you finally get the thing that your heart has always wanted and that you've always longed for? And we initially both were like, probably a crushing disappointment. We have to be together and live side by side, and there's the illusion of the trope of the kind of a happy ever after. It's like, well, what does that look like? And so I think that creates a backdrop for tension, because if everything was normal and fine, I think they would be incredibly bored as individuals. I don't think they're kind of like, let's sit in front of the TV with a TV dinner for too long. They both get restless and probably divorced by the end of the year. So it's kind of like, how do you fulfill their nature, the character nature of each of them, and yet also fulfill what is needed to create the tension and the drama that really satisfies the audience?
That's interesting. Every time I envision a future between Peggy and Cap, I always assume that whatever the threat would be, they would be the first ones to get off the couch and be ready to go ahead and handle it together, right? Like, I can see Cap being somebody that gets that itch of wanting to go back out there, right? Like, how do you go back in time, settle down with the woman that you love, but then see all these events play out on TV in regards to, issues that happen in the world, or knowing that you're capable of making a change or helping people, but deciding to kind of stay home, right? So this idea of him coming out of retirement or whatever, maybe possibly as nomad, just somebody under his own will. I am kind of curious if that's a lifestyle that Peggy Carter is keen on, following along with him, or if she's gotten to the point of like, I am ready to settle down, Steve, and I want this more settled down life. And maybe there is some tension about the idea of Steve going back out into the fray and maybe worrying that he's never going to return home again, sort of thing. Like, I am kind of curious as to what the dynamic is like, because I always expected them to get up together as a team and face whatever threat might come their way.
Yeah, I think like it's such an interesting concept of I always love it when time travel movies kind of play with that whole idea of you're from the future, you can prevent some really terrible stuff from happening, but is doing something like that, is that going to cause like bigger consequences that you couldn't foresee before? Also, but if you don't do anything, would that be considered, selfish? And I think that's something interesting, because I wouldn't consider myself to be anywhere near as like good a man as like, a guy like Steve Rogers. But at the same time, I think that if I was in his position, I would have a hard time like doing nothing if I knew that something, was about to happen and I knew that I could prevent it. It would be so hard for me to not do something about it if I could. So I can only imagine something like that for a guy like Steve Rogers. Certain dates come up and it's like, wait a minute, history say that this, I'm going to use the most obvious one. It's like September 10th, 2001, something along those lines. Like, can a guy like Steve Rogers like do nothing about that? Because I'm nowhere near the man that Steve Rogers is. I don't think I could do nothing if I was like in that kind of position. So I'd be curious if that's something that they would tackle. I remember for a while there were like meme comic books about that kind of stuff. Like there was a internet like comic that someone made, and it was basically the two of them settling down on the couch, and then the Cosby Show comes up and Peggy's like, "Oh my gosh, Cosby is such a funny dude. He can never do anything wrong." And then Steve being like,
just looks at him, her like, if only you knew if you only knew the future. There is one last article I want to one last article I just want to bring up here. Robert Downey Jr. breaks down Doctor Doom parallels to Tony Stark in Avengers Doomsday. This is coming off of the panel itself. He says, when it comes to Tony and Doom, Downey says, there's the science thing, and they're considered pretty brilliant guys. But Tony had the trauma that turned him into a hero, and Doom's got the exact opposite, to where it takes the prowess of all of these folks to go up against them, and it was a joy to behold. Doom in the trailer does have a line that says, all of you have lived stolen lives. You refuse to give them back. Downey Jr. says it was really weird to be on the other side of the bad guy mask because it was such an isolated vibe. I'm seeing them all socializing and stuff, and I'm the enemy. I'm sure he probably utilized some of that mentality too for his role. I mean, the fact that he seemingly was isolated. I mean, he talks about being isolated. I wonder if he purposefully isolated himself also in the sense of trying to get into character a little bit for this role.
You know, I did hear rumors behind the scenes that a cast member was really hard to work with. I wouldn't doubt if it was Robert Downey Jr. himself purposely being hard to work with in order to isolate himself from everyone to really get into the character.
Right? That'd be pretty interesting if that was him. Some comments here before we move on. Mystic, why would heroes of Earth 616 trust the Earth 828 Fantastic Four when every Earth is fighting for its existence? I mean, I do wonder if they meet Fantastic Four prior to this revelation of the incursions that are happening. You know, I'm sure they got some pretty brilliant minds still on Earth that might at least open up its ear for the Fantastic Four a little bit. I have a feeling that we're going to get, considering the fact that the trailer shows Wakandans meeting Fantastic Four, but you also have the ocean kind of being held back. It does feel as though we are going to get a Namor facing off against the Fantastic Four briefly. At least that's what it feels like teased to me. And I wonder if the Wakandans come in to kind of break things up. And when you've got bold minds like the Wakandans and Shuri, they probably are open to the idea of hearing what somebody like a Reed Richards kind of has to say. So I am kind of curious as to how that meeting certainly goes down. But it should be an interesting connection.
I wonder if they see the Fantastic Four fighting Namor, and the Wakandans are just like, hey, enemy of our enemy.
But I think maybe at the end of Wakanda, I think they kind of, I don't want to say smashed it, but I think there might be some level of like, I don't want to say alliance, but like an agreement amongst everybody. So I am kind of curious if that's fractured in here or how that kind of comes together. You know, if there's at least people talking, you know, if Shuri and Namor are at least open to talking and having conversations at this point. Nathan says Adam is bold playing that trailer. I know you watch some, then pause it. I hope it works out. Oh, no, yeah, we're definitely going to be demonetized today for sure. Not a copyright strike, but we'll definitely be demonetized today. Fed, what's up, Fed? I hope that the Steve shown at the end of the trailer is part of Hydra and works for Dr. Doom. Definitely a possibility. That's a theory that's certainly going around. Wanda got to be the miracle Thor looks for, not Steve. This is because Steve is weaker than the demigod Thor. I mean, he does, you know, the idea, I do love that line in the trailer saying we need a miracle, and then they show us Steve. It's definitely lines up really well. But yeah, you know, who knows? I don't even know when that line of dialogue comes in, or if it was just edited together like that beautifully for the trailer. Question to comic book readers: does Steve Captain America appear in Doctor Doom comics? I'm pretty sure they've probably have had some crossover events in the past in each other's comic book runs. And in fact, the current Chip Zdarsky Captain America run has a heavy focus on Doctor Doom in its very first arc. So yeah, definitely. We got Marcelino in the house with the $5 super chat. Appreciate you coming through. Many don't want Captain Carter to return unless it's to kill her off like the Taskmaster and Thunderbolt. So Marvel can apologize for creating Captain Carter. They killed her off like that in.
I was gonna say, yeah.
They killed her off like that in Marvel. the multiverse of madness, so people should, for the people that are just craving for a death of Captain Carter, just watch that on repeat and it'll fix their weird fascination with it. But Marvel doesn't have to apologize to anybody for creating Captain Marvel, because Captain Carter, because Captain Carter does have a fan base out there for some people, and Haley Atwell is just a tremendous actress, so I can see why they continue to bring her back, but they don't have to apologize to anybody for that.
If anything, they should apologize with how they killed her off in Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, this character from What If that a lot of people liked, and she's gone.
And she's gone. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to the Avengers Doomsday trailer, along with some of the big reveals that we wind up getting at the Hall H panel to accompany this beautiful new teaser poster, which I will be having on my wall here before this movie releases. So switching over from the MCU now to the DCU, Stuart, despite DC Studios not really being at Comic-Con this year, Clayface actually did get some love on the very first day, as I believe they talked about I think there was a Jim Lee and Friends panel, and I didn't know what to expect from Jim Lee, but considering the fact that he's the president of DC, he wound up bringing the actor Tom Rhys-Harris, who's going to be playing Matt Hagen, aka Clayface, in the Clayface movie on stage. They did talk a little bit about it, but earlier this week they did drop a trailer for Clayface, a new official trailer for Clayface. Have you had the opportunity to check out that one, Stuart, also?
I did indeed, but I'm definitely down to check it out again.
Yeah, let's watch the trailer again. Let me see if I can find it. I'm pretty sure there it is. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull this up on my page. Give me a moment. Get this set up, guys. Okay. Let me go ahead and pull this up here for you guys as we transition over to our next topic. This is the Clayface. So maybe some warnings in regards to some graphic stuff if you guys are squeamish. But let's go ahead with this Clayface trailer.
Show me. Show me.
No, don't show me, please. I'm okay. First off, look at that face, bro. It's already formed.
I remember when watching, what was it? It was Punisher season 2, and we were finally gonna see Jigsaw, in his actual face. I remember being so underwhelmed by the actual makeup that they used. It's like, you got a few scratches, but I mean, dear God, it's not that bad. Where it's like, here, it's like, okay, cool. I can see why someone would be depressed having that face, especially looking at the before.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you want, Miss Hagen?
I want my life back.
I know you. You're famous.
It's a tragedy what they did to him.
Boo. Yeah.
I'd like to volunteer for human trials.
First off, I really also appreciate the Gotham City world building that they're doing in here. Like, just some of the visuals of the city are pretty stunning too.
Yeah. I also one thing I didn't expect is I thought his face gets messed up through like chemicals or something along those lines. I didn't expect it would be like people just like taking out a knife and like actually like messing up his face. Like, I don't know, that just adds a whole new like kind of terrifying element to the whole thing.
Yeah, I love this. I never caught this image either. Matt Hagen, Coast City's new leading man. So my man's not even from Gotham, but he's from Coast City. So interesting.
This isn't cosmetic surgery.
Even if it kills me, I'll be better off than I am now.
You say so, bro. Oh.
I'm okay.
You okay?
I'm okay. I feel great, actually.
I feel great, actually. So far, bro. So far. James Gunn has confirmed that this is the same Clayface, by the way. in Creature Commandos, so this is very much a prequel to that beforehand. But yeah, you get to see this transformation working for him so far. I love the visuals here, man. The lighting is beautiful.
No idea what side effects you'll have or how to treat them.
Oh.
Sir, the seatbelt sign is on.
We're in unknown territory.
Oh, bro. No, please don't. Please don't. Bro, I got body horror is the worst, bro. Like, it's just the worst for me. Like, there's really not many horror films that I watch that make me like cringe, but any sort of body mutilation does it to me all the time, dude. Like, it just makes me really uncomfortable to watch.
Oh yeah, understandable, especially when it comes to like stuff with the eye. So the moment like you see him like taking the scissors to the eye, it's like, oh god, no, please don't.
Please don't. Please don't.
What's happening to me?
If you're harboring feelings of anger, you need to let them go.
You want to know how I feel? The people I trusted betrayed me. The justice system failed me. They stole my career, my money, my life. I'm a monster.
Whoa. Woo. Oh my god, did you see that shot? Can I whoa, look at that, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah,
you see the fist imprint? Oh.
It's so funny because one of the things that they were talking about is that this doesn't have the biggest budget, but like, I don't know what kind of latex they use for his face, but like, it looks incredible, like for whatever the budget is.
Yeah, so good, dude. Oh, it's so sick.
I have no idea who you are.
Boy. Yeah, we're gonna get Clayface in all his glory come October, whenever this movie drops. They say you will see the classic Clayface from the comic books on the big screen at some point in time in this movie, and it definitely looks like they're holding on to all that budget for the end. For sure.
I hope so. Yeah, that I miss that about like kind of old school horror movies, like the kind where you don't really see the creature until like the very end. You know, they don't have the biggest budget, so they have to really rely on the writing to kind of build anticipation.
What so what did you think about the trailer overall? What's your anticipation level for it?
Oh yeah, I thought this trailer looked absolutely excellent. I'd say my anticipation is decently high. I mean, you got one of my favorite horror writers one of my favorite modern horror writers working on it. That is, of course, Mike Flanagan. And then just the overall vibes I get. I like that it's I love that as part of the bigger DC universe, but it's not necessarily trying to carry the same tone that we got from Superman and Supergirl. This one really feels like it's just trying to be its own thing. And then I think it was just a lot of stuff that they mentioned about the movie beforehand that gets me really excited. The idea that it'll be heavily inspired from his appearance in Batman the Animated Series. I'm also just excited that we're going to get Clayface in his like actual form at the very end of the movie. So I'm excited to see how it all kind of like ties in. I'm going to be keeping my my magnifying glass out for all those Batman Easter eggs that we'll probably be getting in the movie itself. I kind of hope, I'm still keeping my fingers crossed, that they secretly casted a Bruce Wayne and they're not even going to announce it. Instead, we're just going to randomly see, I don't know, like a magazine in the background that you have to pay attention to that has Bruce Wayne's face on it, and that'll be their way of announcing who's playing Batman in the DC universe. I think that would be absolutely incredible.
I do like that idea. of maybe a Bruce Wayne instead of necessarily a Batman making a cameo in here. I think that'd be pretty genius. Peg C says Clayface reminds me a little bit of Darkman. That's a great callback.
Yeah.
Nathan says, love this trailer. I love the tone. Yeah, you and me both, Nathan. He says it feels like a Matt Reeves universe. Yeah, I think this has just started the calls of like, please, can we have Robert Pattinson in this movie? We got Kiki and Luca once again with the super chat 199 today. Say thanks for the A+ show. Hey, we do our best, put our best foot forward. Fed also says a little shame to hear it from the director that Clayface won't have any arrows pointing to other Gotham's big characters, though. To think of it, it's not always needed. Yeah, not always needed. We got Tony Robinson in the house. What's up, Tony? Appreciate you certainly coming through with us today. We also there was an article this week from Deadline that did interview James Watkins, the director for Clayface, saying, did DC approach you for Clayface, or did you approach them? He says, they came to me. They sent me this script by Mike Flanagan, which I read, and I thought this is really interesting. The journey of this, the bones of this, is a monster story, a story of identity, of who we are and how we define ourselves. It is a story of a guy that had built up his career and then it gets smashed away, and how he tried to get it back. It's a very relatable human thing, but also sort of mythic, almost going back to classic storytelling, this sort of shapeshifter story and Frankenstein story of it all. I had a lot of conversations with the guys at DC, but yeah, they came to me, and then I sort of had to prove my proof that I had something that they could work with. He says, I came on board with a lot of stuff that I threw at them. I'm like, here's the Gotham world. This is what I would do with it. It's sort of the same conversation I had with James Blumhouse when I did Speak No Evil. I'm like, look, this is the place where I would go. If this is a place where you think you actually want to go, then we should all go there together. If you don't, there's no point really taking me on that journey, because it's going to be bad for all of us, right? It's always good. It's always good to go, this is how I see it, and let them decide, because it's their property. I remember having this conversation on Zoom and showing all sorts of really icky imagery, and James Gunn looked away at one point because he was so grossed out, but he was like, yeah.
Dang,
James Gunn
dude,
is like,
James
this is gross, but this is exactly what we want.
You grossed out the dude that made Tromeo and Juliet. Like that is impressive. I mean, he worked in the medical field for a while, so it's like, I'm sure he's seen some shit. So what the hell did he show him?
Yeah, for real. He does go on to say Flanagan's screenplay, I understand, was inspired by the Batman animated series Feet of Clay, which tells the origin story. Did you go full on Clayface in your prep? Did you submerge yourself in the Alan Moore story and everything? What did you pull from? James Watkins says everything, the Basil Carlo, Matt Hagen, and all the variations. There's a lot of inspirations from a lot of the various comics for fans who want to do a deep dive. There's a lot of references. For me, I want to dig into the emotion of the character in the deeper way, but I really responded to in all the previous iterations was the sadness, the melancholy, the heartbreak, and give it a tragic dimension, trying to find that journey about Hagen being rejected and trying to find his way. The duality of Clayface is really interesting. He's anti-hero, but not wholly a villain. We'll see. He eventually turns into a wholly a villain, though, by the time we see him in Creature Commandos, that's for sure. He does talk a little bit about some of his influences for building up things like Gotham City and whatnot. And last but not least, how did Tom Rhys Harris become your Clayface? What did you see in him? We saw so many people, and Lucy Bevan is a fantastic casting director, but Tom came in and I didn't know his work at all, but he just gave a really interesting read. I probably put him through about 4 months of auditions, including reading against people. There's something slightly Clayface about Tom's face. Clayface is a shapeshifter, and I had this with James McAvoy, who was a master actor and could just shift with such a sort of microscopic gradation between being cheeky and devilish, and those sort of shifts I felt within Tom, between being this kind of urchin orphan quality of vulnerability that sometimes you can play, but also be a shift, a manic smile that can become slightly unnerving and can do all of that within the register of keeping it real. He just felt like Matt Hagen. And when you sort of have that, it's very hard to go beyond it. So that's pretty cool. I actually found that kind of insightful in regards to like what it is that made them go with Tom Reese Harris of all people. And I think it's pretty interesting, like just that idea of like being able to have just the ability to distinctually go between emotions from like your facial features, to like have a smile but then make a slight facial feature adjustment and then be able to emote a completely different feeling, and maybe more eerie feeling sort of thing. I think as an actor, to be able to have that type of range to transform how you look visually to give a different interpretation of maybe the same line that you're kind of delivering, I think is what James Watkins is really kind of talking about here. So really having Tom play that balance of Clayface and Matt Hagen in here is a really interesting one. But I love the trailer itself. The trailers get better and better. It feels like just yesterday, Stuart, we were talking about the DCU is doomed. Supergirl failed at the box office. Let's just throw out the bathwater with the baby. Like, let's start over, sort of thing. And now we've been hit with Lanterns, which was an incredible trailer. Now we've been hit with Clayface, which is an incredible trailer. And now the narrative has changed for the DCU in regards to, guys, I think we're in good hands now. But I really appreciate Clayface coming out of the gate swinging, doing something vastly different, to where I think, especially the timing of this is brilliant. If the movie itself is incredible, not to say that this is going to catch fire like a movie like Obsession or anything like that, but the horror genre right now is on fire. For a movie that only has a 40 million production budget, if the story really delivers, you can really even reach into the horror genre of fans that maybe aren't necessarily even comic book movie fans, but if they just love a really good horror movie, man, you could really tap into something special here. Like Backrooms wind up having that kind of level of momentum. Obsession has that type of level of momentum. I don't think Clayface could have come at a better time, where it seems as though 2026 is like the year of horror films. So I'm really confident with this one, especially after seeing everything that we've seen so far. But yeah, I'm keeping a close eye on this one, Stuart.
Yeah, I definitely glad. I don't think either of us were definitely in that camp of Supergirl dooming the DC.
No, we weren't. No,
yeah.
we weren't.
But yeah, I am glad to see that. Like, yeah, Supergirl wasn't the hit that they were hoping, but they still came back. They got right back up, and they were like, okay, yeah, we know you guys didn't love Supergirl, but here we go. This is our trailer for Clayface. We're doing something really new with this by giving a horror vibe. And we know you guys weren't the biggest fan of that first teaser that we released for Lantern. So here's the second one that shows, hey, not only is there green, but there's plenty of cosmic threats in the show as well. Yes, we're taking a more grounded approach with the story, but it's the setup. We're gonna have more in the future, and I hope this trailer kind of shows that off a little bit. Yeah, I think that this was exactly what DC needed after Supergirl didn't perform as well as they hoped.
Yeah, absolutely. Feta says if they nailed the full transformation with so small a budget, then oh damn, waiting for Clayface screening on Dolby. Me too. Yeah, I can't wait to see the full transformation. Fed also says, yeah, Adam, no need to throw out anything about Supergirl. Watched in theaters, gave a 7 out of 10 on 2 websites. Yeah, I think ours ended up being a 7 out of 10 too. I can't remember what our final grade for Supergirl was. But yeah, we certainly enjoyed it for what it was. I think we definitely both felt that it could have used some improvements in certain areas, but we're definitely not on the bandwagon of throwing anything out. If anything, I think Supergirl walked away from me being one of the more emotionally complex characters of the DCU that I find myself wanting to kind of go on the journey with her kind of going forward. So I definitely want to see more Supergirl. But considering the fact that DC Studios didn't have a huge presence at San Diego Comic-Con, the little bit of Clayface that they dropped earlier in the week, and then the big Lanterns reveal and stuff that they had on Friday, I believe, I think really has really calmed some of the conversation and worry that some people certainly had kind of moving forward. So, but yeah, we'll definitely keep you posted on any new big reveals that wind up coming down the pipeline for the DCU going forward. Speaking of horror, Stuart, Weapons is semi in the news here this week because Zach Cregger wind up sharing an update on the upcoming spinoff sequel to Weapons, and none other than Gladys. Well, I guess it's kind of a prequel. I don't necessarily believe it's a sequel so much because I do believe they're going to be telling the story and the origins of Gladys. But Zach Cregger this week before San Diego Comic-Con wanted to go ahead and actually hype up the movie, as I believe we did get. We will have another Zach Cregger thing in a moment for you guys, but according to him, it says according to the wrap here. Let me go ahead and bring this up. It says Zach Cregger hypes Weapons prequel. Mysterious and crazy things await Gladys's origin story here. Zach Cregger issued an update for the Weapons prequel about Amy Madigan's Gladys character, sharing the script was in progress now. For those of you who don't know, I believe Amy Madigan actually ended up winning supporting actress role for Weapons at the Oscars this year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe she certainly did. The filmmaker who wrote and directed the horror sensation, he was at the directors on directing panel at San Diego Comic-Con on Thursday. He says, first of all, I'm really excited about the Gladys movie. I loved working with Amy. I love that character. For the movie Weapons, it really made a lot of sense not to dive into her backstory because the device of Weapons was to keep her very mysterious. While the upcoming films will shed more light on a sinister witch, Cregger promised that the prequel would have just as many twists and turns as Weapons. He says, however, there's an amazing story to be told about where Gladys comes from and how she became what we know her as. He said, it's got a lot of twists and turns and mysteries and crazy things like Weapons does. I think it's going to be great. As for where the project currently stands, he says the script is in progress now, but we're taking that super seriously and it's moving in the right direction. So yeah, it's being written is the short answer. So yeah, Stuart, we're getting more Gladys in a new Weapons spinoff. This one's set to be a prequel. I know you were a big fan of this movie. How do you feel? You know, I will say, while I like the Gladys character, I don't know if I necessarily need an entire movie from her, but I do trust the mind of Zach Cregger. So I am kind of curious as to what you think about them doing a Gladys spinoff here.
I think I'm honestly 100% like on or 100% agree with you on that. Like, I loved Weapons, probably one of my favorite movies last year, and I think the Gladys character was like pretty awesome. But yeah, I think like part of what I liked about her was the mystery, which added to the weirdness of her. So I would say that at the moment, I'm not exactly hyped for Gladys prequel. But I'm also not like against the idea. And I think that, yeah, since Zach Cregger's the one that's excited to make it, the guy who came up with the character to begin with, I do think that there is probably going to be a really good story there. I guess before I can get hyped for this movie, I got to see a little bit more from it, whether it be from whether it be like a trailer or just kind of more plot details. I just want to see a little bit more before I hype myself up for this. But yeah, intrigued, I'd say.
Yeah, I do find myself intrigued. I'm definitely going to go ahead and give it a shot and an opportunity. But I am like you. I'm probably going to need to see just a little bit more before I'm fully excited for this. And because Zach Cregger is in the news over at San Diego Comic-Con, for those of you who didn't know, Stuart, did you know that he dropped a brand new Resident Evil trailer as well this week?
I did indeed. I saw that one as well.
Let's go ahead and talk about it since we're talking about Zach Cregger in general. This is the trailer from the brand new Resident Evil film that just dropped this week.
Hey, man, I gotta be 7. Do you know where I can take this? Excuse me, I got. Oh my god.
That's
Anybody order?
that's my exact reaction to this stuff. Just like looking into a hospital room and see like a surgery's going on. Oh my god, like wrong door.
Excuse me, I got. Oh my god. Anybody order a kidney or liver or whatever this is? Anybody? It seems like it's kind of important.
Hey, you got time for another run?
No, I'm wrapped up for the.
It's outside the zone, so it pays double.
I could do that.
Money talks. Money talks.
Sweetheart, I'm sorry. The signal sucks here. Can you hear me?
I'm gonna stay with Katie for a bit, I think.
Michelle, please do not go stay with freaking Katie.
I've also hurt my feelings that you don't even care enough to come home and have this conversation.
Seriously, I'm working. This could be some 8-year-old boy's heart or someone's mom's brain.
That's how it always starts, Stuart, right? Just hitting a random person in the middle of nowhere.
That's exactly how Resident Evil 2 started, or at least the remake. You know, the bus driver, he hits some person like in the middle of the road. She bites him. Then, of course, he drives right into Raccoon City.
Oh man. Oh, that's not a good sign. Why are we following it?
Hello?
Yo, the sound in here is incredible. I'm also really appreciate how they build the knocking into like a trailer soundtrack almost. It kind of
There's an emergency here. I was wondering if I could use your phone.
Hi, you've reached Michelle. Leave a message.
Hey, baby, I'm really sorry that we got disconnected earlier. Some things have happened, and I can't get a hold of police. Bullets. Could you just call me back on this number, please? I love you.
Bro, can I just the sound of the footprints on the snow is the most unnerving fucking settling sound ever, because it's just getting closer and closer and closer. My man is like panicking, like, dude, that's how I like. This feels so Resident Evil to me in the sense of like just the buildup of tension is just horrifying for me, Stuart. Like it, the fucking music alone is just giving me heart palpitations right now, dude.
Oh yeah, and I gotta give a shout out to the bullet casing that we got here, straight from like the Resident Evil games, exactly, because you know it's always like the shotgun shells are always green, or you know come in a green case, and then the you know pistol ammo always comes in the red case. I also like that. Yeah, this is something that Zach Cregger pointed out about the first teasers, like the way the character progresses is similar how you as a character progress in a Resident Evil game. Like he starts out 0 weapons at all, but then slowly has to kind of build up his arsenal, manage his resources. Something I also liked is the room he walked in, which had a typewriter, because that's how you saved your games in the Resident Evil movies. I have a funny idea of how they might end this movie, but I'll mention it after this trailer.
I love that. That's such an eerie feeling, dude.
Everything that has happened in this town transpired in a matter of hours. You've got no idea what you've got there in your hands.
Yeah, where was it going again?
Raccoon City General.
Hey, no sweat.
No sweat. The knocking noise and the footprint snow, the sounds of the footprints on the snow as literally like the main musical theme throughout here. Crazy. It really builds up just that tension. Fed, what's up? Fed says looking forward to seeing this in theaters. Nathan says never look away. Yeah, never look away, bro. Never look away. Tony says, "Damn, a football team needs to draft that woman. She's got some speed." I will one. What's up, I will? He says, "A delivery run to Raccoon City? Sure, no sweat, no sweat." So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this movie, dude. Like, it looks intense. It looks really intense. I hope Resident Evil fans are going to be really happy with it.
I think there's definitely I think like the Resident Evil fans who are fans of the movies, the Paul W. Anderson movies, are probably going to be disappointed by this if I was a betting man. And I'd say that because, like, so one major difference I noticed between this this Resident Evil compared to like the Paul W. Anderson movies is those movies tend to borrow like a lot of like visuals from the video game without like actually borrowing any like kind of story elements, without really using anything to make it really feel connected with the game. But they borrow a bunch of visual cues, so it, like, anyone who hasn't played the game that like looks at the Paul W. Anderson movies might actually think that they're meant to be more, that there's like some connectivity between them. This movie kind of goes the opposite route, where yeah, there are definitely some visual cues that remind you of Resident Evil, such as you got the typewriter, you got the shotgun shells. What you don't have is like the Umbrella Corporation logo plastered all over every single hospital, all over the streets, which is something that's kind of common, especially like the in-universe reason is because the Umbrella Corporation basically owns Raccoon City, so that's why you get their logo like all over the place. So it does make sense in the universe, but I like that because they're not doing that. It just makes this movie itself feel more like it could take place, in our world. It could be like a Resident Evil movie that it kind of feels like it takes place in our world, even though it is meant to be connected to the games. And yeah, again, the slow progression we get with our character. This is a little bit of a callback to the first trailer, but the fact that he has to find keys in order to get into locked rooms, but he also has to get ammo in order to survive, like, those zombies and monsters everywhere. I think that it captures that so well from the Resident Evil games. I'm also just intrigued by our main character because he's not like your typical Resident Evil character that we follow. I mean, I guess in a lot of ways, you could say he's kind of similar to how we kind of see Leon in the second Resident Evil game, how he's kind of like, he hasn't quite become the badass that we know and love him as like later on. So maybe that'll be the case with this character. He starts out as kind of like this, you don't really see him as much of a survivor, but then like as the movie goes on, he might grow to be kind of like that heroic figure that we kind of see in like Leon and Chris Redfield. Funny, I don't think this is going to be how they end it, but another kind of funny direction I can see them going with this character is he gets super traumatized and then becomes the junkie that we see in Weapons.
Oh, so that would be crazy. That would be crazy.
Overall, though, trailer looks incredible. I think this is going to be the first good Resident Evil movie that we've gotten.
We also got Fed in the house. It's a horror and winter is always a freaky good combo. Yes. I wonder if Mila has a cameo, not her character from Resident Evil movie, on this. That'd be cool if she actually did.
Oh, Mila Jovovich. Yeah, if she cameos like as a different character.
Yeah, maybe she works at the hospital, or maybe it's somebody who he's got to deliver the organs to, or whatever the case may be.
The only reason I think that'd be kind of weird is because Zach Cregger has gone out of his way to say that he hasn't watched any of those Resident Evil movies. So it'd be kind of weird if he threw in a nod to a movie that he never even saw.
I gotta imagine he's watched it at some point in time, no?
Well, in the interviews, he implied, I can't remember which interview it was, but there was an interview where he said that he hasn't seen any Resident Evil movies.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. But that's all right. He seems like he's taking more inspiration from the games itself. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to just the Gladys spinoff, along with his next work on Resident Evil, set to go ahead and drop later on this year. We got one last topic for you guys. I probably should have just moved this to honorable mentions. We'll get through this relatively quickly. But we know that Tom Cruise has a big movie that's set to go ahead and drop later on this year, in the movie Digger. for me, it's fascinating to be able to see Tom Cruise get back into his more like acting side of things, really branching out and giving us a brand new character. But there's something about Tom Cruise in regards to always wanting to go back to revisiting movies that got him where he is today. And we did have a big announcement that Tom Cruise is in fact set to go ahead and tackle Days of Thunder 2. And not just that so much, Stuart, but it seems as though they have in fact found themselves a director has now attached and been brought on board. This is coming to us from the Hollywood Reporter, letting us know that Days of Thunder 2, Jonathan Levine in talks to direct Tom Cruise and Paramount's racing sequel. This is an exclusive from them. The engines are ready to roar again. Paramount is finally putting the pedal to the floor on a sequel to Days of Thunder, giving the keys to Jonathan Levine to sit in the driver's seat as director of the Tom Cruise vehicle. Cruise is on board to star in the follow-up to his 1990 racing drama and is producing with Jerry Bruckheimer, one of the original producers as well. The feature is intended to be Cruise's next production. Paramount's tapping of Levine, whose deal is in the midst of negotiations, is a strong vote of confidence in Mr. Irrelevant, its upcoming sports drama that Levine has helmed. That movie, which stars David Cornswet and has a prime Christmas Day wide release, has been hitting stratospheric highs during test screenings earlier this spring. So Days of Thunder was a reteaming of Cruise with his Top Gun helmet, Tony Scott. And while it didn't fly as high as the latter, it still proved to be among the most memorable Cruise outings. So yeah, it does in fact have details of the new story being kept under the hood, but the script is written by Will Staples, who has written video games such as Call of Duty 3 and co-wrote the Michael B. Jordan action movie Without Remorse. So they do have a writer attached, they do have a director attached, and it does look as though this is moving forward for Tom Cruise. I have always heard, I'm cool with this. I don't even know if I've ever seen the original Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise, if I'm being honest. But I had heard rumors that after the success of F1, that they had always teased the idea of like, let's get a Days of Thunder and F1 crossover kind of happen, since they both deal with car racing. It would be really cool if they tackled something like Days of Thunder 2 that actually had some type of like post-credit scene or end credit scene that really like tied in within the world of F1, because I legit would love to see that happen at some point in time. But that's where my hopes are at. But I'm just glad to see Tom Cruise coming back for this movie.
Yeah, I too haven't seen the first Days of Thunder, but I think depending on the hype around this movie, I might have to go out of my way and check it out. Plus, with it being Tom Cruise, for a fact there's going to be some like actual stunts where he's trying to get himself killed.
Oh yeah, for sure. We got Fed in the chat saying Digger going to be a great theatrical experience. No, I think I froze a little bit. I'm sorry. Yeah, guys, it's on Days of Thunder landing a director along with its writer. Did I lose Stuart here? Did I lose myself?
Oh, did I freeze?
Things are getting kind of weird here.
Am I frozen?
I think you were. I don't know. You're back now though.
Cool.
It could have just been me. I'm trying to close some things.
I think there's like kind of a delay between our conversations or something.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's working itself out though. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to Tom Cruise returning for Days of Thunder and them landing a director for this project. But with that out of the way, Stuart, I think you know what time it is.
I do indeed.
And now, everybody, it is time for live viewer questions.
And we're not going to get into our live viewer questions portion of the show. I did post the live viewer questions up super late today, literally like 30 minutes before today's show. Usually we try and drop them on either Saturday afternoon or Saturday evenings with you guys. So if you do want to go ahead and submit your questions over, you can certainly go ahead and do so. How do you go about doing so, though? Let me go ahead and show you. So again, every Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, usually, we will go ahead and make a post So always just go over to our YouTube channel, as you see right here. Click on this post tab. And voila, live viewer questions released 2 hours ago. Don't have too many questions, so if you do want to submit some questions over, now is the time. I'll certainly refresh before we before we wrap up today's show. Let's go ahead and,
I will be right back. I just gotta make a quick run real quick.
yeah, go right ahead. Peg C in the house. We recently lost actress Brenda Fricker, who passed away at the age of 81, best supporting actress for her role in My Left Foot, and was best known as the Pigeon Lady in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. What are your thoughts? I'm not too familiar with her work outside of Home Alone 2. I mean, maybe she is in some couple other movies that I'm not too familiar with or aware of that maybe I have seen her in. Yeah, regardless, I have not had the opportunity, but it's still sad to see the loss. Now, isn't it like both parents of from Home Alone have passed away too? Is that correct? Along with this lady from Home Alone. Peg C's other question: Paramount and Maximum Entertainment are producing TMNT Live on Stage, a new North American theatrical tour kicking off in the fall of 2027. The 90-minute show celebrating the franchise's 40th anniversary features martial arts, parkour, and hip-hop dance battles. The last time the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did live show was 1990, coming out of their shells where they were rock stars. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I was going to say, like this just feels like this just has a 90s vibe to it. Just this idea of like putting the Ninja Turtles back on stage. Like, is this like a Nickelodeon kids tour or something like that? Like, Paramount has just had some really questionable decisions. Like, why are we even doing this? Like, I don't, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong and this will turn out to be fantastic. And like, next thing I know, it'll be TMNT on Broadway. And it's like an incredible show for all I know. But this just feels very Secret of the Ooze, 1990s, very playful sort of TMNT. If we're talking about hip hop battles, dance battles and stuff, cool martial arts stunts, some parkour, visually it might be pretty cool, but it's cool that they're still doing something with the franchise in general, but this just feels a little bit weird to me. It just speaks 90s. I'm just thinking, like, is Paramount really set on like being stuck in that period piece like mentality time frame of what really works for some of these IPs? Can we not like branch out and do other things? Because we did this back in the 90s already. We did this shit like 30 years ago. I just think TMNT is past like live action tours, if you will, live on stage stuff. But we'll see. Have you guys seen the movie Radio Flyer and Angels in the Outfield? If so, what are your thoughts on them when they first came out? Radio Flyer was released in February 21st, 1992, and Angels in the Outfield was released. I do remember Angels in the Outfield. I think wasn't the MLB team the Indians or something like that, the Cleveland Indians at the time? I don't know. When I think of Angels in the Outfield, am I thinking of the wrong movie? I was thinking of the guy from Back to the Future that played Doc Brown. Isn't he in Angels in the Outfield? Wasn't he the angel? Maybe I'm tripping and I'm thinking of the wrong movie. But let me know. But I don't think I've ever seen Radio Flyer. Is Radio Flyer the Cuba Gooding Jr. movie? I don't think I ever saw the Radio Flyer one, but I have seen Angels in the Outfield maybe like once or twice in my life. We don't get movies like that anymore, it feels like. I do, when I think of Angels in the Outfield, for some reason, I also think of like Rookie of the Year. Great movie. I used to watch this shit on repeat all the time as a kid. We got Kiki and Luke in the house live. Viewer questions. Let me know what you guys thought about San Diego Comic-Con. Were you guys happy with San Diego Comic-Con this year? Anything at San Diego Comic-Con that really stood out to you? I'm going to leave some of Marcelino's questions for a little bit later here. Jessica Friedman, Stuart, this question is for you. Well, Stuart's not. Oh, yeah,
perfect.
There he is.
Just came back right in time.
Yeah. Stuart, this question is from you, from Jessica Friedman. Have you seen the new season of King of the Hill Revival? Yeah, I feel like they have the new season was like just released under our noses. And what are your thoughts on it? And would you like to have seen a Simpsons and King of the Hill crossover back in the day?
Ooh, I mean, technically, you had the King of the Hill crew, the family from King of the Hill, cameoing on Simpsons during the football episode. Because, of course, it goes to that joke of where the hell is Springfield located. And so you have, I think it was like Bart throwing a football. They're playing against Arlen, Texas. And Hank is like, we drove 700 miles for this, or something like that. But I don't know if a full crossover would have worked. It would have been weird because the shows definitely give very different vibes. But I'd be open to seeing it. As for what I think of the new season, I've only seen the first episode. I am definitely going to be binging it this weekend, though, or later tonight, because I absolutely love King of the Hill. But yeah, so far the first episode I watched, I really enjoyed. Especially loved the Bobby and Connie storyline. Yeah, I do find it interesting because looking at the original King of the Hill series, I never would have expected Chain to eventually become like kind of a main character, not a main character per se, but like a more reoccurring character, and one that Bobby like kind of has to play nice with because he's kind of his boss. So it's a very fun dynamic that they did a good job with in season 15, or wait, no, last season was like 14, I think. And so this is 15. They did a great job with it in the last season. I'm loving the way it's continuing in this season as well.
Paxi does correct me, says Angels in the Outfield star Danny Glover and Tony Danza. Yeah, and I believe Christopher Lloyd was the angel in that movie, right? He was. I guess it was I thought, for some reason, I don't know why, I thought it was like it wasn't a professional baseball team, was it? Or was it like a kids team?
No, it was professional.
It was professional,
the
right?
Angels.
Oh, the Angels. Why was I thinking Cleveland Indians? But yeah, it was the
Angels. Hence the joke of angels helping out the angels.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, it's been years since I've seen it. He says Radio Flyer was about two kids trying to escape their abusive father. No, I haven't seen that one. I have not seen Radio Flyer. We got Marcelino in the house. You know how the goal of the Clone Wars cartoon was to make boring and one-dimensional characters into well-established and beloved characters? Well, I feel Mace Windu got the opposite treatment. I don't know if this was the intention, but Mace Windu apparently became more hated by the fandom. Really? I don't recall it at all. The main reason is because Mace represents the Jedi's full corruption into politics. He has his moments helping people, but when it comes to how the council should handle politics, he seems very pro-politics. Like in Tales, he doubled down on Dooku's concerns that the Jedi aren't doing enough for people when politicians take advantage of the system, and gladly took the dead Jedi's council seat after Ahsoka's innocence was found. Rather than apologizing, he made the excuse of saying that the Force works in mysterious ways, and this was her greatest trial. Ahsoka's reaction of being disgusted by his comments only hammered this home. And finally, once Ahsoka defeated Maul and freed Mandalore, she said that she did her duty as a citizen, not as a Jedi. And then asked about Chancellor Palpatine's current affairs, Mace snarkily replies that this is a matter for the Jedi and not a citizen. People have praised this change as it now creates a roller coaster of emotions when we're watching Revenge of the Sith, because we have Jedi like Plo Koon, Ayla Secura, and Kit Fisto, who we love and cry when they died, and we have Jedi like Mace, who we cheer for when he dies, because he had plenty of opportunity to see the errors of the ways and acknowledge his wrong, but instead he doubled down and became further corrupt. First of all, I definitely didn't cheer for the death of Mace. Yeah, I don't know who's cheering for the death of Mace. Yeah, we got to change your algorithm, brother. You got a lot of haters on your algorithm. I mean, look, Mace has always been a hard ass to me. Mace has always been the one that I feel like always makes the really hard and sort of tough decisions. He almost comes across very militaristic mindset to me at times. I think there's a great Legends book. I think it was called Shatterpoint. That was a Mace Windu centric novel that I think gives a really good perspective on like his personality traits. Now, he may not have been necessarily like a fan favorite amongst the Jedi back in the day, but I do think he while Yoda is definitely the wise one, I think Mace brings that balance. I don't want to say militaristic, but much more of a play by the rules mentality. I wouldn't even say Mace is hated so much as I think we view Mace as a more complicated character. Is more he says, I'm just saying Mace is more hated, is more praised by the fans because it shows Jedi being corrupted. But I don't think Mace is corrupted per se. Do you find him as corrupted, Stuart?
Oh no, not corrupted, just too focused on like kind of the way of the Jedi to really see that to really see like the real issue, if that makes sense. Like I think the problem is like the Jedi code, for as long as he's worked with the Jedi, has like worked for so long, and it's only like during the Clone Wars where it's really being challenged. And so I think that's why he takes like the more militaristic, he still keeps in with the way of the Jedi, but kind of in a more militaristic kind of way, as you were mentioning.
Yeah, he comes across like if I had to compare him to anything, he feels more like a current like centrist, you know, somebody that wants to continue to play by the rules as things are according to, like you said, the relationship between the Jedi and the Senate. I think he has a firm belief in regards to like the balance of power, you know, because if I don't necessarily look at him as corrupted, because if that's the case, I don't think he would have attempted to try and take Palpatine down, nor do I think he would have been okay with the idea of just killing Palpatine right then and there that he was ready to do, right? So there is some level of belief, like, so I can't necessarily say he's corrupted in that regards. Because of his actions towards Palpatine when we do see them in Revenge of the Sith. I just think that he has a very guarded perspective of Anakin and really wanting to kind of keep that balance in regards to the Jedi's power in regards to like how it all fits within the politics. But I couldn't say he's corrupted though. I don't think that's proper. Yeah.
I think he is, along with every Jedi, honestly, is somewhat guilty of this. He was just like, you know, he didn't see the obvious threat because he was too focused on exactly what, you know, Sidious wanted him to be focused on.
Yeah, I get you. He also says, what do you guys think of how the TV show Gotham used Azrael? To recap, Gotham didn't use either John Paul Valley or Michael Washington version. Instead, their Azrael was completely original to the show. This Azrael was Theo Gallivan, played by James Frain, who was a corrupt politician running for mayor, whose plan was to break out several inmates from Arkham to cause havoc in the city, then swoop in at last minute and save everyone. These inmates included Jeremiah and Barbara Keene. Theo formed partnerships with the main cast, including both Jim and Bruce, but eventually everyone found out about his true intentions, and Jim Gordon kills, setting up his dark side arc. His corpse is then sent to Arkham, where Hugo Strange experiments and eventually revives him, but with zero memory of who he is. Instead, lies, saying that he is Azrael, the agent of Order Saint Dumas. He then gets a new costume and attempts to kill Jim and Bruce, since Hugo Strange viewed them as a threat. He is eventually killed again by the Penguin via RPG rocket launcher. The point of Azrael was to be a prototype for Bruce becoming Batman and being inspired by it. I definitely missed that. I think I fell off of Gotham after if this took place after season 3, then yeah, I might have missed it. So I don't really have a perspective on it, but I don't think I would have been a big fan of it though, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched I only ever watched the first season of Gotham, so okay, so season 2.
Oh, very early.
Yeah, so unfortunately, yeah, I only ever saw season 1 Gotham. So I don't know. it sounds different than what they went with in the comics, but then again, I feel like Gotham kind of did a lot of things differently because they, TV budget, and they wanted to kind of give the illusion that it was like a more grounded approach to Bruce, I guess. But I don't know. Again, only seen season 1, so can't say for sure.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and find if I see I can find my. I don't remember how I felt about it, honestly. I'm looking at the costume. The costume looks pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't remember how I reacted towards it. Maybe I'll have to go back and check out my my reviews for it somewhere. One day I'll find it. The costume was okay, not bad, but they wanted to last too long. Yeah, the costume looks pretty dope. Looking at it again on Google. But yeah, I'll have to check it out again and see how I felt about it because I don't recall. What are your thoughts? Oh, that's right. I did hear about this. What are your thoughts on Andy Serkis's comments regarding that the hunt for Gollum has an all-white cast? He said Tolkien himself was influenced by a lot of Norse mythology. There's a lot of that feeling. The Shire feels very, very much like a very, very white, They're not very concerned about what goes on beyond the borders of the Shire, but they know they don't want people coming in. This particularly firm is somewhat acknowledging that, but we don't think we will be doing a politically correct just casting for the sake of casting and ticking boxes version of the film. So it's only where relevant, basically, is what he said. Was that his whole comments in regards to it? Look, it rubbed me the wrong way just because I felt like it was attack against Rings of Power. And I don't know how to feel about it, Stuart. Because I don't want to sit up here and call Andy Serkis racist or anything like that, because I do think it's fair that each person has their own vision in regards to how they approach Tolkien's work. Andy Serkis did come up in a time during Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, so I think when he envisions Lord of the Rings, he probably very much envisions Peter Jackson's way of filming for the movie itself. If he envisions and interprets Tolkien's stuff as like, very white focused because of just where they're filming at, or what he recalls from his time in Lord of the Rings, I don't necessarily know if I could fault Andy Serkis for that. But at the same time, I think of the Rings of Power duo writers, and I think of their attempt to make it a little bit more diverse, or at least approach it from the mindset of like, it is a fantastical property. You can kind of get away with whatever it is that you kind of want to when you kind of view Tolkien's work. So I don't know. I think it's each creator has their own vision of what they want to do when it comes to Tolkien. It does rub me the wrong way that he feels. I do think that he does give us an insight in regards to his mindset, though, in the idea of feeling that maybe Hollywood is just ticking boxes for the sake of ticking boxes, instead of trying to just be a little bit more diverse and cast for who is the best person for the role, sort of thing. So that kind of strikes me in a different way that I don't really feel very comfortable of Andy Serkis saying. But I'm also not going to fault him for having a vision of what he thinks Tolkien's world is and wants to stick to that particular vision. Not to say, I'm not up here saying that every movie needs an extremely diverse cast in it. But hearing his thoughts on the use of diversity in Hollywood as just a ticking of the box, I think is what gives me issues more or less than whether or not he casts black people in his role. Like I could care less if there's a black person in a Lord of the Rings movie or property or whatever the case may be, but if they want to put him in there, like that's fine. I got no problems with that either. So it really is dependent on the person's vision that they have for the movie. But I think Andy Serkis does bring us a little bit into his fold in regards to his mindset that kind of ruffles my feathers a little bit.
I think a few things that bother me about it is that, one, whether or not this was, which I'm 100% sure this was not his intention at all. I just hate the fact that he gave the anti-woke grifters an easy win, basically, or something that they can basically constantly misquote and now just kind of present Andy Serkis as being on their side. You know, that's kind of what I hated about the way he phrased it. The other thing too is him mentioning, he based this all on like what did he say, Norse mythology specifically?
Yeah,
and it's like, but emphasis on the mythology part. Emphasis on this is not our world. Middle Earth is not Earth. It is a completely separate world from ours. So to like kind of say that, oh, the people who came up with these, Norse mythology type of stories were white, therefore anything that is even remotely related to Norse mythology has to be white. I know that that's probably not what he meant it to say, but that is definitely, to me personally, that is how it comes off. I wish he was a little more specific when he talked about ticking boxes. Because what do you mean? What do you mean by ticking boxes? Or do you mean that like you don't want to have a diverse cast, for the sake of having a diverse cast, and therefore you won't let many people audition? Because I
would be curious as to what the auditions were like.
Exactly. Like, did you ignore auditions from people that weren't white? Is what I'm like kind of wondering. Like, because so this is an argument that I see some anti-woke grifters using, and I somewhat agree with it. I just think the result is different than the way they see it. I think that if you give everyone the equal opportunity, diversity just kind of like will happen naturally. So that's what I think. Like, that's what I'm wondering. It's like, did he still give people like the equal opportunity to audition? He just didn't hire specifically based on trying to check a box. So it's like, I don't know. I also think like I hate it when people say something like that, because then it just means like it kind of like lessens why someone else might have gotten a role that they worked really hard for. Like, you only got this role because you're a DEI hire. They needed to check a box for diversity, when it's like, no, that person might have actually worked their ass off to be playing that role specifically. So the way I could see it working, and if he was specific about this, if he brought it up specifically as an example, totally would have been like, oh no, that makes sense. If he said, oh yeah, I'm not gonna change characters who have already been established in the Lord of the Rings movies, because I'm sure this is in the same universe as the movies. It's not just like another.
It's in the movies.
Yeah. So not recasting someone who's already been casted, by, as a white person. Then it's like, I get not wanting to do that. Like, obviously you don't need to recast with someone like a person of color, especially if it's in the same universe. So totally get that. But if you're trying to go with the argument of, well, Lord of the Rings had a fully white cast, so if I try to change that by adding diversity, it wouldn't fit that world. It's like, no, that's absolutely just, you just being a bigot and not wanting to admit it, I guess. It's one of those. I know this was like only a quote from him and I would be more curious to see. First of all, I need to see the thing for myself, because I'm only going by the quote that Marcelino has. I haven't seen it.
He did put a link to it. I don't want to go to the whole entire link right now and take up more time. Definitely go ahead and check it out for yourselves and see what he said.
That's what I meant. I need to fully look at the full context of this, because if it comes out the way it's kind of like phrased here, then I'm with you, Adam. This really rubs me the wrong way and gets me slightly less excited, not only for the movie, but also makes me kind of lose a lot of respect for Andy Serkis. Again, I need to see the full context to have a full opinion on this, but from the quote alone, I don't like it.
I mean, Yeah, I definitely don't like it. And I think that's what I'm struggling with is the fact because I am a big fan of Andy Serkis, and I don't want to see him kind of put his foot in his mouth and be now seen and revealed kind of in this light, you know. I hope he does eventually do another interview where he kind of talks about it a little bit further. You know, I mean, I would be interested in the audition process though too, Stuart, right? Like, did they allow Black people or people of color to even audition for these roles, or is it a case of like they were pretty focused on that idea? Now, if you had a wide range of auditions and stuff, then clearly you were kind of open to it, and maybe his comment of he doesn't want to necessarily just check boxes, and this is more or less in the sense of like, I didn't want to just put a diverse person in there if they weren't, you know, the best for the role. You know, maybe, you know, I maybe there were just other people that were better in the auditions process, and it just happens to turn out this way per se for him. But you know, it is just odd. It is just odd, and it just felt like a kick in the nuts for something like the Rings of Power that have had to already push back against that notion for people, like you said, against the anti-woke crowd that already gave something like the Rings of Power, that sort of problem. But they've definitely proven how great that show is. Even with all the diversity, they're doing incredible things on that show. So it feels a little bit closed-minded from Andy Serkis in the sense of like, just having this mentality. But, to be fair, it is everybody's vision in regards to what Tolkien's work is. But yeah, just the way he says it, it's just like, I would be kind of curious to see how the auditions were definitely handled in that regards. Because yeah, it definitely rubs my feathers the wrong way for sure. Fed says, yeah, but dark-skinned people are in Middle Earth. Andy's words fueled fire brought in by people who don't like that thought. Marcelino says, didn't Tolkien himself say during the end of his life that if he had done Lord of the Rings today, he would have changed things a little bit?
Oh, what the heck? Oh, I seem to have lost Adam, so I will take over very briefly until he gets back, which I'm sure won't be too long. Oh, there he is right now.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. But yeah, I'm probably gonna end the live viewer questions on that point, though. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this comes across. But yeah, definitely go ahead and check out the link if you guys want to find out Andy Serkis's exact wording. Please go ahead and do so. But yeah, I'm sure you can find that on YouTube or wherever the case may be. But yeah, guys, that will do it for today's show. Thank you, everybody that certainly participated here this week. Do we have that lineup of recommended movies, Stuart, that people wanted us to watch?
There was one specific one that Kiki and Luca brought up a couple of times. Yeah. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. I might, so for tomorrow, I do want to also talk about Avatar Aang, because I saw that movie yesterday.
Ooh, okay, yeah, we'll let you pull it up. Maybe I'll try and check that out too tonight.
Ooh, I would love to get a non-fan perspective. That would be awesome. I think the one that they really wanted us to check out though was Jiro Dreams of Sushi.
Let me see, is that available on streaming?
Let's find out.
Free on Philo. Subscription requires if you have Sling TV. I don't know if I've got Philo. Is it on Netflix? Watch Jiro Dream of Sushi. Oh, it's currently not available in my country. Do you have Philo?
I do not.
I don't think I have subscription requires Fubo TV. Oh, Amazon Prime Video subscription.
Oh, it looks like you watch it without a subscription on Philo. You just got to deal with ads.
Oh, okay. So it looks like we got some options here. I'll check out Amazon and I'll check out Philo and see. So maybe let's try and aim to do both of those movies tomorrow. Aang, Avatar, and Jiro Dreams of Sushi.
Sounds good.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, that's what we'll have for you guys tomorrow on our Monday movie review for you guys. We'll talk about that. Maybe even have Stuart touch a little bit more upon his thoughts on the Odyssey. Maybe we'll revisit the Odyssey a little bit to go ahead and kick off the show. And then we'll do the Aang, and then we'll do Jiro for sure for tomorrow's show. For those of you who don't know, if you're big anime fans, we do on our YouTube channel currently have the return of our anime show, Anime Assembled. Indie Uchiha is in fact back. Let me go ahead and can I pull this up for some people? I don't know, but yeah, if you guys want to check out, if you're big anime fans, let me go ahead and see if I can pull this up here for you guys. Also, let me bring that YouTube channel back up. But Indie Uchiha, along with his co-host in John Powers, have in fact returned for Anime Assembled. As you can see right here, he dropped it 17 hours ago. Looks like they are reviewing Sentenced to Be a Hero. They might even have some Gundam news for you guys. So if you want to go ahead and check out our anime stuff, I will tell you right now, if you're looking for great minds in regards to anime, you cannot go wrong with Indy and John. I mean, these guys are incredible. I'm trying to see if I can get them to go out to some anime conventions. I'm not sure if this is going to be a weekly program for them or every 2 weeks, but they will be doing an Anime Assembled dropping on Saturdays for you anime fans out there. So if you want to go ahead and see how they do talking about anime, again, click on the Anime Assembled videos, about an hour long. They have some review and some news for you guys. So certainly go ahead and check that out. So it's good to have some anime back on our channel as well.
Definitely.
And if we're lucky enough, maybe we'll have them join us from time to time on Hero Report from time to time. Fed says, sure, I check out your Sentenced to Be Hero video plus more. Yeah, if you guys haven't had the opportunity to go and subscribe to the channel, please go ahead and do so. But that's what's on the docket for later on this week. So tomorrow we'll have our Monday morning, our Monday matinee review for you guys, show on tomorrow evening. And then throughout the week, if there's any other big reveals or trailers or news that drops, we'll go ahead and drop some additional videos for you guys, maybe some shorts throughout the week. But if not, we also will be having the return of the Force Report, not this week, but possibly the following week, as we bring back our bi-weekly Star Wars show. We're also going to start reviewing for you guys the Ninth Jedi, the Star Wars Vision animated show. I think that drops next week also, or maybe in the beginning of August. So we'll definitely look forward to more Star Wars content around here as well. But Stuart, that will do it for today's show. If people want to find you, Stuart, on social media, man, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram and Letterboxd at Turbos201. Also, possibly going to be streaming at some point in the near future. So I will keep you guys posted on that if it happens.
Nice. So definitely look forward to that, guys. And if you want to follow us on social media, we do have a Hero Report account on TikTok right over there. And if you want to follow us anywhere else social media wise, I would say definitely our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel and click on the bell notification so you do get updates whenever we go live or drop a new video. And then I would also suggest our Facebook page. Our Facebook page continues to grow. We've got over like 4,600 followers as of right now. We continue to grow on a daily basis. We keep that up to date daily. It's an incredible aggregator of just Marvel, like movie and television news from some of your favorite franchises. So we drop constant news throughout the day, trailers, posters, behind the scenes featurette. Our Facebook page right now is booming. So definitely follow us on our Facebook page at A+ Opinions, along with everywhere else. But guys, that will does anyone still use the Discord? That's what Becky says. I believe they do. There should be a Discord. You know what? I don't know if there's a Discord invite in our in our box anymore. The Discord is pretty dead, but since we are getting more fans and more subscribers here on our YouTube channel, I may have to reintroduce the invite link to the Discord for some of our videos. But I'll make sure to go ahead and add that into our description for our A+ Hero Report videos. But yeah, I every now and then there will be an update over on the Discord stuff. But if you haven't checked out our Discord, please go ahead and do so. But that will do it for us here, guys. We'll certainly see you next weekend. So in the meantime, do us a big favor. As always, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.